Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close, I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
My handshake is better than anything I ever saw. It's right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right about
I don't think I've ever said this before.
All right, we got a special friend in the house, Ann Coulter. Great to have you back on.
Good to be here.
Yes,
Like
great
the
to
new
have you
set?
back on. Thank you. This is the interim set. We're rebuilding the other set, so next time we'll take you to the other set that we're building. And Tom, for 20 years, still doesn't know how to turn off his phone. Get his phone away from his... Rob, can you do me a favor? No, do me this favor. Rob, please grab Tom's phone because he just watches the live the entire time, gets distracted. Can you please come and grab Tom's phone? Do me a favor and do that.
I do
because
this
it
at
always
dinner.
makes noise. Grab it from him and set him aside. Go ahead and grab it from him and set it aside. Thank you.
Well,
All right.
Pat, can I
finally,
defend Tom for a second?
we did
What
this.
did I do 30 seconds before
He
the
said,
show?
hey, make sure your phone's off.
So he
Yeah.
doesn't even listen.
No.
It's
Remember,
when he's recommended.
Tom has a rule
You're
of
lucky
3.
we love you,
Here's
man.
Tom's rule of 3.
It's the
First time you say Tom,
Yes.
he's still here. Second time you say Tom, in his brain, he goes, Tom. But by the third time you say Tom, he hears it.
Yeah.
It's just a rule of 3s.
But
That's
by
what
that
we've
point,
learned.
the phone's already rang 7
By the way,
times.
you know what that's called?
Ruined
That's
the
called when
show.
you are maniacally focused.
Yes.
You hear no noise.
Signal,
So make
noise.
some noise for
Tom, out there,
for
baby.
being focused on the
Austin
signal.
Powers,
You know,
when you
it's,
get the
it's
top
right.
3 times.
You know, it's also the myth of the married man, where after 10 years of marriage, it's always, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you till the third time you called.
Great defense mechanism.
All right.
Respect.
Well, I'm sure Kim appreciates that. Guys, while this is going on, there's this, apparently this story about a lady who would fly in her bodyguard and would give him Molly, MDMA, and the ex-wife of the bodyguard is suing her. Am I saying it correctly, Rob? This sounds like a movie. Kyrsten Sinema, which is a very
I thought you were
interesting
talking about
story.
Diddy for a second.
No, this
Okay.
is actually,
No,
we'll
it's-
talk about that. Trump insurrection, there's some things going on in there. We'll talk about that. Obviously, a lot's going on with Iran. Brett Baer did a phenomenal interview with the Iran foreign minister, and it got heated because he was calling him out, so we'll get into that. This is like Ann Coulter. All she wants to talk about is Iran. She said right before.
Yes.
That is the most exciting story I want to talk
That was her
about.
number 1 story.
So we want to make sure Ann's like, she wanted to go do 9 stories on Iran. We said we can't do that many, but we will do a couple. Iran issue, sickening assassination threat against Trump. Iranian protesters' family says execution has been postponed, which is good news. Trump praises Iran's exiled royal as very nice, but doesn't go as far as fully supporting regime change with him. Trump brags about a very good call with terrific Venezuelan president ahead of meeting with opposition leader that came through, I think, yesterday. Corina Machado, if I'm not mistaken, Rob, handed over the Nobel Peace Prize to Trump, and there was a picture about it. But Caroline Leavitt, right afterwards, said something very interesting. She said his opinion on her still hasn't changed as being the leader. I know, Ann, you probably got some thoughts on that. We'll come to you with that. Trump says he supports Venezuela remaining in OPEC. Tom has some thoughts on that, which I don't know if it really means remaining in OPEC. Trump confirms leaker on Venezuela in jail. Very bad leaker is who he was. Buying Greenland could cost as much as $700 billion. I don't know who's coming out with that number, but that's what NBC News is saying. Josh Hawley. Listen, Tom's got the 3 rule, right? He asked this lady the same question 11 times, and she still wouldn't answer. And allegedly, she's a doctor, which at the end, I think she says, call me by my, call me doctor, It reminded me of that scene, paging doctor, from the movie. I don't want to finish the rest, but,
Wonderful movie.
Yeah, wonderful movie, documentary. But facing corrupt threat, Clinton's refused to testify in Epstein's inquiry. Now, here's what's weird. Can you imagine Jon Stewart, who gets in and says they should absolutely comply with Epstein's subpoena and go testify? All right. So even Jon Stewart wants to see Clintons get involved. White House responds to Joe Rogan's warning that ICE behaviors in Minneapolis resembles Hitler's Gestapo. Exodus of immigrants, a hit for the U.S. economy. Study says that's a barren story. Fetterman, who is more and more becoming a very logical player, says ICE should continue arrests and not slow down. That's Fetterman for you. Renee Good's former father-in-law doesn't blame ICE agent for shooting. Illegal Venezuelan migrant shot in Minneapolis after mercilessly ambushing Fed agent with snow shovel. This was an interesting story because two things were going on at the same time. We'll talk about that. Lefty LA polls tout mansion tax, but less than 1% of the billion has gone to affordable housing. Very, very good story. We'll get into that as well. California billionaires rage at huge tax bill to fund illegal immigrant health subsidies. Stephen A. Smith calls out Jasmine Crockett for ducking him after she hurled racial insults at him, calling him Django, and a couple other things, which we'll get into that. And then I got a few other stories here on what happened with Dilbert cartoonist. Final message. You guys saw the ex-wife, what she said, which was
very emotional,
amazing. But did you see what the journalists, how they
from People magazine?
For sure. We have to cover that as well. Goldman Sachs predicts blockbuster 2026 for M&A mega deals. Vinny's got an entire analysis on that.
Yep.
And then that's where we are. So with that being said, Vinny's got something special he wants to share with you guys. And when Vinny does this, it's a very, very special moment. So, Vinny, tell us what you've been working on.
Thank you, Pat. So, as you guys know, I have the Faith Over Fear line, and this shirt that I'm wearing right now is our newest. Faith Over Fear was more of how you live. This shirt is on how you stand. So, in Isaiah chapter 6, verse 8, Isaiah has a vision of God in his throne, and he's asking, he wants somebody to step up to go to Israel to, call people to God. They're resisting, they're rejecting him. And God says, whom shall I send and who will go for us? And Isaiah, knowing the cost, just answers quick. He goes, here am I, send me. And there's actually a moment, Pat, in the movie Fury. Do you guys remember Shia LaBeouf? Yep. His name is Bible in the movie. John Bernthal, Brad Pitt. They're in this tank division. The tank has been destroyed. Okay, they know that they're all gonna die. They can run, they could leave, but they choose to stay there and delay the enemy from advancing. And Shia LaBeouf has that moment where he goes, this is a righteous act, gentlemen. And he quotes the verse from Isaiah. He goes, here am I, send me. So it's about answering the call even when it costs everything. So that's what this shirt means today. It's speaking the word when it's unpopular and standing firm regardless of the consequences. And so the front of the shirt is Isaiah 6:8. Valuetainment is here, and that's the back of the shirt right there. Here am I, send me. It's live right now on vtmerch.com. Get you guys a shirt, and yeah, that's it.
I'm proud of you, buddy.
By the way,
Here am I, step
I'm
up.
proud of you for reading the Torah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, last time he did this, 10,000 Faith Over Fear shirts were picked up. So go pick yourself up a shirt and represent. All right, with that being said, let's get right into it. I want to go into the top story. What could happen if Trump invokes the Insurrection Act in Minnesota? Okay, so let's go through this. Rob, I think you got a couple clips on this. President Trump on Thursday tweeted this, or Truth Social this. If the corrupt politicians of Minnesota don't obey the law and stop the professional agitators and insurrectionists from attacking the patriots of ICE, who are only trying to do their job, I will institute the Insurrection Act, which many presidents have done before me, and quickly put an end to the travesty that is taking place in that once great state. Thank you for your attention, Donald J. Trump. And how do you feel about this?
Of course he should do this, and I don't even think he needs to invoke the Insurrection Act. It's funny how the New York Times avoids talking about the two most famous incidents of presidents sending troops against the wishes of a state's governor, Eisenhower sending them to Little Rock, because to walk 9 black school children into the school. Why? Because they were disobeying federal law. It was a Supreme Court ruling. You can't discriminate. The governors, the mayors were saying, we're going to keep discriminating. And so Eisenhower sends, the 101st Airborne to walk these 9 black. And then JFK did the same thing in Alabama, directly against the governor. The governor called out his own national troops, George Wallace, famous name. That was to walk 2 students into University of Alabama. So we have 9 sad black students, 2 sad black students, and of course the Constitution and federal law being violated. And they go down in history as heroes. Minnesota is violating federal law. Immigration law is federal. The Supreme Court has held this 1,000,000 times. They did it, I'll just say briefly, because it's recent. I mean, I've been alive in America for more than 2 weeks. When Arizona passed that, what everybody called the Papers, Please law, you'll remember that, it's like Nazi Germany, which was upheld by the Supreme Court, at least that one provision. The rest of the law was overturned. All Arizona had said is, We want to comply with the federal government. We're going to help. We aren't going to do anything that federal immigration law doesn't say, but we're going to help enforce federal immigration law. Obama was president, and he sued saying, I don't want to enforce federal immigration law. The Supreme Court says federal government wins. So absolutely he has constitutional authority to do this. And if you look at how the governor and the mayor are behaving, I mean, just today, I think the governor, Tim Walz, said Minnesota is an island. Well, no, you're not an island from federal
law. Did he really
law.
say he's an island?
Yes. That's like seceding from the Union. Of course he should send federal troops.
Wow. Tom, your thoughts on this?
Well, you and I lived in Los Angeles at a time in 1992, which was also a time that the Insurrection Act was under the riots, Rodney King. And the city was being torn apart. The police were overwhelmed. And when the police are overwhelmed, that's when the National Guard comes in. This is when, look, a hurricane or an earthquake happens and our governors say, hey, we have a disaster area. I need you to declare me a disaster area so that I can get federal funds. And by the way, can you please send relief people, troops, supplies, whatever it is. And so, we'll ignore the failure of Hurricane Katrina. But in Los Angeles, we had Korean shopkeepers that were on top trying to protect their own buildings. And it was invoked at that time appropriately. This is exactly when it should be invoked. And it's interesting that everybody's clinging to the word insurrection in the media because that was a word they clung to on January 6th because they had to make it an insurrection because an insurrection is the operative term that was in the Constitution that they wanted to pin on, oh, you've created an insurrection, on Trump. So when you look at this, I think not only is this appropriate, it is not appropriate, it's urgent, it's obligatory. It's not should Trump do it, it's why is he waiting for any opinion to say this is out of control here and I have to protect the people of the state because it's the union. It's one of the states of the union, so I got to step in here.
I think he's late. I think this should have happened the day after the incident happened with Be Good, whatever, Renee Good with the pin wearing. But can we just take a step back? Like
martyr du jour.
Yeah, exactly. We're watching a state. This is. Look at the timeline. A state that was just exposed for one of, if not the biggest fraud scandals in the history of the United States. Scott Bessent came out and said 10% of our money is going to fraud. $600 billion a year. And is it just a coincidence that all this stuff is happening here, that they've energized these people? By the way, this isn't happening organically. You think these people with all the same signs, all the same movement, Kash Patel came out yesterday and said, if you think this is just organic, you're insane. And they're going to go after all of them.
$600 billion?
$600 billion.
Rob, do you have that clip?
$600 billion a year. This is it right here.
Investigations. And these men and women, they are cool cats. They can take apart a balance sheet and they can knock down a door and arrest someone. Like they go out on patrols, they can make arrests. It's this very interesting hybrid force, about 2,500 of them, and they led the charge here. So it was IRS CIs who uncovered the initial fraud and the prosecutions. So it's with that group, with other groups at IRS, and with the powers of the Treasury to track where the money came from, where it's going. We saw this very unsettling news yesterday that many people involved here with the administration of these programs have tried to go back and they recreate documents, change documents.
Rob, when does he say 600 billion?
We're not going to have that. We are going to hold people accountable. We're going to press this to the full extent possible. And like I said, I think that this may just be, it's a cold day outside, so this could be the tip of the iceberg here in Minnesota, but it's probably may not be as prevalent, but the dollars may be bigger and larger in other states. And just to put this in perspective for American taxpayers, for American families, the GAO, the General Accounting Office, believes that there is somewhere between 300 and 600 billion of annual fraud, roughly 10% of government spending.
10%.
That disappears due to fraud. If we can recapture that,
You can pause that right there.
so
How do you not track that, though?
How do you not
wasn't- track that and find out who it's
Government.
going to?
Well, wasn't that Doge?
Intentionally.
Wasn't Doge's job supposed to go in, find all this situation, and just really quick, Pat, if you, because this is where I'm coming from. I'm putting two to two together. They just got exposed. So instead of going, yeah, guys, let's just face the fire, they take this moment, and because they were pushing it. Tim Walz is like, the Gestapo, this is one of those moments like in House of Cards where they sit there and they wait for a moment to happen and they capitalize. This is their moment. Now it's, hey, don't worry about the fraud. It's Trump is a Nazi. These people are Gestapo. And I just hope that, I know Kash Patel said he's going to be looking into it. Like I said last week, I don't care about basketball gambling. That's a whole different situation. This is hundreds of billions of dollars a year. This is what we care about, and this is all a show to distract everybody from what the real problem is, and that's a problem. They've imported all these people. They're not working, Pat. They're sitting there and they're scamming us, and nobody's gonna care about it. I'm sorry.
It's a loop. And the loop we saw over Ukraine. Ukraine gets a bunch of money, but a lot of it's allocated for defense. It comes right back to General Dynamics and Boeing and Northrop
Money
Grumman,
laundering.
and all them comes back. They then send equipment to Ukraine. Now they have these billions of dollars. They say thank you through a lobbyist. They say thank you through a PAC. And now the money that Senator Blowhard voted to send to Ukraine has made a loop back, and Senator Blowhard has got PAC money and campaign money back in. And it is an eternal cycle, and that's how they keep stasis. That is their stability, these cycles. And now all they've done in Minnesota is it wasn't a foreign war, it was a systemic fraud loop that they created. Except now the unintended consequence, which the creators or the intentional closed eyes created, was money went to Al-Shabaab, and then some of that money came back. So all of a sudden, in closed rooms, you gotta believe that Walls and others in closed rooms is like, crap.
Well, let me do this before I come to you, Adam. I want you to see this. Watch this U.S. rep from Minnesota, Angie Cray. Look what she says here, and tell me if this is helping out. Go ahead, Rob.
Yes or no? Do you think Congress should shut down the government over ICE and DHS funding to make a statement?
Look, I'm not in the room with leadership, but what I can tell you, what is happening in America, the path that we are traveling certainly reminds me of many of the images that we saw in the 1930s in Germany. And we should stand up to this lawless administration. And right now,
be able
nothing
to say
should be off
something
the
like
table.
that and get away with
That's
it,
what
right?
I'm saying.
Adam, your thoughts.
Oh my God.
I missed the part in Germany where foreigners created fraud. I missed that part. There was an extermination
that
that was
page
going
out.
on. First the criminals, then the gypsies, then the people in asylums, and then later the horror of the Holocaust. So I missed the part in Germany where there was a fraud loop.
Yeah.
Adam.
So ridiculous.
Well, this whole shenanigans comes down to one word for me, and that's midterms. So we're in a perpetual election cycle in this country. And as Tom has always pointed out, they're looking for their next George Floyd. And guess what? They found her, and her name is Renee Good. So, by the way, the heroes of the left are a little bit different than the heroes of the right. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, absolute hero. The heroes of the left are George Floyd, drug addict, wife beater, woman beater, and this woman who's a weaponized agent against ICE. So to me, the bigger story here is there may be a kernel of truth in all this, but then you have what I would call people just looking to act a fool. So if you remember after Rodney King, 1992, okay, that guy got his ass whipped by the police. We get it. But now people in LA want to burn down their entire city as retribution. And I remember after Katrina, they started looting, and then the great Greg Giraldo, the comedian, goes, no, I understand you want to get some stuff, but you need a TV and some beer in the middle of a hurricane? Like, that seems a little inappropriate. And then the whole conversation about what the BLM riots did in Minnesota, callback. The ironic thing, shout out to Alanis Morissette, is Donald Trump, who was accused of doing a insurrection. Look at what's happening in all these cities. Last point, just to my friends on the left, on the right, enough with the Holocaust stuff. I was actually with a Holocaust survivor, 95-year-old woman. I mean, and she's an amazing woman. She's the grandmother of my good friend Jeremy. And I said, hey, they're saying a lot of things are akin to the Holocaust these days. This thing in ICE. And she goes, oh, yes. Well, I was one of 8 children. All my other siblings were murdered. My entire family was put into Auschwitz, a concentration camp. My aunts, my uncles, grandparents, they're all dead. So please forgive me if I protest not Nazi Germany. I'm sorry. Thank you for having some sort of rationale here. There's a big difference between protesting and, God forbid, something get injured or killed, whatever, versus the intentional genocide of an entire population.
Well, but
bullshit.
That's a great argument point you're making. But here's Joe Rogan talking about what it looks like on TV, what it's looking like to the average person that's watching it. Go ahead, Rob.
You don't want militarized people in the streets just roaming around, snatching people up, many of which turn out to actually be U.S. citizens that just don't have their papers on them. Are we really going to be the Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that what we've come to?
And what do you think about what Joe said there?
I'm just horrified that my party is so bereft of Hollywood celebrities that they will latch on to someone who was a janitor in a 1970s sitcom and make him into this hero. I've always thought Joe Rogan is a moron. If young men are looking for a masculine podcast, I would definitely recommend this one over that. I mean, his claim to fame is he was first, so he gets interesting interviewees, but it's the people he's talking to are interesting. He's not interesting.
You don't think Joe's interesting?
No.
I think
I think what he just said was utterly
Have you
beyond
ever met him?
moronic.
Have you guys ever?
In fact, I think you just demolished what he said there. I think everybody has this idea. They've been saying this since 2015 about Trump. Oh, which reminds me, I make fun of it in my book, In Trump We Trust. All of these op-eds in 1930s. We're back to this. And he's comparing this to the Gestapo. As I just pointed out earlier, the one part of the Arizona law that was upheld by the Supreme Court was what liberals were all saying, oh, it's papers, please, it's papers. No, it's reasonable cause. We're looking for illegal aliens. Of course you can consider accents, ability to speak English, what someone looks like. That is part of the many things they are looking at. And the idea that they're pulling aside citizens, it's less than 1% of citizens who have even been briefly detained. It's less than 1% fraud as opposed to 10% fraud in these feed your families programs.
Well, if you don't mind.
Yeah, well, I actually have the numbers. So in the past, great point, and in the last 12 months, there have been 100, this is 1 year, 170 confirmed instances in which an American citizen was temporarily or improperly detained by ICE, okay? In that same time frame, there have been approximately 622,000 forced deportations, okay? So, Ann, to your point, this puts ICE's improper temporary detention rate at 0.027. So, in other words, ICE is doing a fantastic job and has a 99.973% success rate, okay? And I respect Joe, but for saying the Gestapo and stuff, it's like they've caught the Gestapo bug. You know why? Because during Obama, you never saw it. CNN never showed it. MSNBC never showed it. Fox never. Nobody ever aired this stuff, okay? And just to add on top of it, Trump wants to be number one, so he has to catch Obama, which got 5 million out. At this pace, he's not going to do it. The Department of Homeland Security has publicly claimed that 1.9 undocumented illegal immigrants have voluntarily self-deported, okay, since Trump took office. If you know it's coming, I know it's hard, you have to leave. Trump is enforcing the law. Yeah. He didn't make the law.
Yeah, please
okay?
1.9 million. You didn't say million.
1.9 million. I'm sorry. 1.9 million people were like, you know what? They're coming. Let me leave, get my stuff together, and potentially come back the right way. I don't see the problem. Because think about it. Trump's kicking ass, sorry for my language, on every other aspect. This is the one thing they have to do. You know why? What is the Democratic Party running on? What is Gavin Newsom was yesterday on with Ben Shapiro? He has nothing. It's just lie after lie after lie. This is all they run on is hatred for us. It's hatred for us. Gestapo, Hitler. It's like, it's enough. Enough.
Emotion and outrage are absent, and they don't have a platform.
There's no platform. They have no policy. They have nothing. They have no leaders.
And
they have nothing.
Well, I think this was a really bad take by Joe Rogan, but that doesn't mean he's a bad person. In fact, respectfully, he's the GOAT of podcasting. So you said his claim to fame, he was first. Touche, the great Ann Coulter, but he's still first. Remember when we were with Rogan and he goes, listen, I'm number one in 92 countries. That's a big difference between being number 92 in one country. So the challenge that Rogan will have is he's so good and he's so big. One bad take, and this was a bad take, respectfully, Mr. Rogan, it's going to get amplified. Even the White House responds. But overall, he's the GOAT in the podcasting space. He's still number one. And he's going to, give him a little grace to make some mistakes.
No, but let me tell,
I would love to see him walk that back.
Let me tell you, when I had a guy came to my place, Tom, you'll remember this. He sent me this offer. He says, please take this to the president. Tom Homan, they need to see this. He said, for you to be able to deport 10 million people, here's what the budget's going to be. You need people that are going to be finding folks. You need trucks. You need this. He said, it's going to take you 700. He gave a massive number of what it was going to take. Okay, great. When they started saying we're going to deport, we're going to get rid of all these illegal immigrants, the first thing I went to is people that are emotional, that are just like regular people that are going to watch the content. You know how much great content is going to be produced to show how evil the current regime is, and they're taking them back to their country and separating them from their family, and look how cold they are, and look how this they are. So the average person, no matter who you are, who is not studying the numbers, who is not looking into this closely, is going to look at that and is going to say, I cannot believe we're doing this. And then you study history, and then you're explaining the history of insurrection, what Eisenhower did, what Kennedy did, Alabama, all this stuff. And then somebody goes, looks at the history, is like, wait a minute, we've been doing this for many, many times. You have to do this to keep the American people safe. But I do believe, because it's such an emotional situation, that even the best and the brightest can fall for it and say, this is not fair. And millions will say, that's what we need. We need more people like this that are empathetic. But the reality of it is, how many people it's going to take to do the next 9/11? Go ahead and let's figure out right now, this year, what's coming up this year in June, July.
Hey, I heard it's our 250th birthday, baby.
No, but hang on a second. World Cup is coming here.
Oh, that too.
Okay? So let one massive event take place. Let Munich, you thought what happened with Munich,
the Olympics.
Let something like that happen here. And then it's an illegal immigrant that came here, not from Mexico, not from Guatemala, not from El Salvador, but let's just say this person came from the Middle East, boom, boom, and then they do something. Then thousands of people died. Then we have to stop the World Cup. Then we have to stop the games. And then who's going to be looking at saying, oh, you know what? All that stuff you were doing on the streets, why didn't you do more of it? Trump should have cleaned house better. You should have been more proactive.
Point,
now you're saying that?
Yep.
And the problem, I was in the insurance space for 25 years. When you sell life insurance, the average person you talk to with life insurance, and you say, like I remember when I told my dad, I'm getting to the insurance space. He says, how does this work? I said, you pay $100 every month. But if you die, the insurance company will give you $250,000. He says, you believe this America company pay you $250,000? So I pay $100 3 months. That's $300. A company called AIG is going to pay me $250,000. You're crazy if you believe it, right? Of course. The average person. But the reality of it is, you know how many times we had a client that paid a couple premiums and then we're dealing with a $500,000 policy? So many times.
Yes.
So many times. You don't buy insurance because you're going to die tomorrow. No. You buy in case. We have to be very proactive with this. I'm glad he's doing it, but I also get you can fall for the emotional videos and sit there and say, what an evil thing that we're doing. We don't have to do this. I get that.
Expand on your point, yes, the media is very powerful, and yes, a lot of people are, I think, falling for this. On the other hand, I don't quite believe the polls. I mean, the original polls from the New York Times and places like that were that the vast majority of Americans wanted Trump to deport all illegal aliens. New York Times published this like 6 months.
It was 60+% if I remember correctly.
All, criminal or not. And as with life insurance, somebody dying, there are a lot of Molly Tibbetts out there. There are a lot of families who have been not only had children or relatives murdered or killed in drunk driving accidents, but victims of 9/11. That was an immigration problem. Whose neighborhoods have been overtaken, whose pets are being eaten or whatever.
They're eating the dogs. Sorry.
And it goes out in concentric circles. It doesn't have to be you whose child died. That whole neighborhood knows about that child. And I think there are a lot of Americans who are not as vocal as some of those on the left who are looking at this and saying, I don't care, just get them out. Biden brought in 20 million. We got to get them out.
Yeah.
By the way,
I want to show something.
Sure.
Here. Rob, can you do me a favor? Find the clip of Caroline Levitt talking to this reporter.
I love this.
Everybody has to watch this. Watch this clip here, folks.
From the top rope.
Good, unfortunately and tragically killed.
Are you asking me my
Yeah.
opinion? Because an ICE agent acted recklessly and killed it unjustifiably.
Oh, okay. So you're a biased reporter with a left-wing opinion.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, because you're a left-wing hack. You're not a reporter. You're posing in this room as a journalist, and it's so clear by the premise of your question. And you and the people in the media who have such biases but fake like you're a journalist, you shouldn't even be sitting in that seat. But you're pretending like you're a journalist, but you're a left-wing activist. And the question that you just raised and your answer proves your bias. You should be reporting on the facts. You should be reporting on the cases. Do you have the numbers of how many American citizens were killed at the hands of illegal aliens who ICE is trying to remove from this country? I bet you don't. I bet you didn't even read up on those stories. I bet you never even read about Laken Riley or Jocelyn Nungray or all of the innocent Americans who were killed at the hands of illegal aliens in this country. And the brave men and women of ICE are doing everything in their power to remove those heinous individuals and make our communities safer. And shame on people like you in the media who have a crooked view.
I can watch it all day.
And have a biased view and pretend like you're a real honest journalist. Why was
By the way, go ahead.
Can I react to that? By the way, Caroline Levitt is a straight verbal assassin gangster. And I mean that in the highest possible way. No, one of us, I won't name names, was joking backstage. He's like, well, that's why I don't think women should be in power or leadership. Here's Exhibit A that gentleman didn't know what he's talking about, because there's Ann Coulters of the world and Caroline Levitts of the world that just dismiss all your preconceived notions. You know how when someone like has a mic drop thing and like they stop the video and sunglasses come in, they put a blunt in their mouth and it's like, yeah, and it's a gangster thing. She should have 100 of those. Caroline Levitt is a verbal gangster. Thank you for doing what you're doing for America.
By the way, this is what Fetterman said about it. Rob, if you want to go to Fetterman, I'll make this the last clip, and then we'll move on to the next story. This is Fetterman. Go ahead, Rob.
Border, and it was skyrocketing, and it's like, that's unsustainable. When you reach almost 300,000 people, that's unsustainable, and we need to, as a Democrat, It shouldn't be unreasonable to want to secure our border and do it in that way. And now let's also talk about ICE. Now, absolutely, again, what happened in Minneapolis was absolutely tragic. And then now, if you think, now this is from the Washington Post, this is the latest statistics. These are people that ICE now are it's like now 67% have criminal charges, pending ones, or that. So that's more than 2/3. The people now there are some people that aren't involved in any kinds of illegal things, but so me, I think two things can be true. Round up all the criminals, deport them. They shouldn't have ever been here, and they definitely have to go. And now I don't want to see more and more things happening in Minneapolis now too. So two things must be true, and I strongly reject the extreme on either side, about this now. So we must be true. And I watched your
pretty wild that he is becoming a voice of reason.
Isn't that crazy?
Him.
It took one injury and he's back to normal. God bless him. But and at the end of the day, this is what drives me crazy. Because Tom, I know you want to say something and he wants to move on. When you have the mayor and the governor and Ilhan Omar calling to action, get in their faces, do this, and then something like this happens. Where's the accountability? You want to talk about Insurrection Act? When they said Donald Trump told them to go in there and what? No, this is what they're doing, and there has to be accountability for you sending in the troops, and then one of the troops gets killed, and then it's like, no, we have nothing to do with it. What were you going to say, Tom?
What I was going to say is there's a case study on this if we want to really look at it, and it's called Portland, Oregon. And Portland, Oregon had all of these police officers defund the police, defund the police. Police officers took early retirement. Police officers went to other parts of the country being paid a partial pension on Portland because they retired, and then they became police officers elsewhere. Today in Portland, Oregon, the voters are asking to refund, not pay back, but let's fund the police. There is a shortage of 200 officers in Portland, Oregon today. The people feel less safe. The people are concerned about it. You can see it in bipartisan polling. There's the case study. There's where this ends. This ends years later, because we're now 4 years later in Portland, Oregon, without adequate police and with an insecure populace that are looking around and saying, what the hell happened? There's the case study.
I just want to give a shout out to John Fetterman and all the other Democrats that have been supporting John. Oh, none are? Zero? No one else in the Democratic Party? No. So one thing he said is so important. He goes, two things can be true at once. So for John Fetterman, you can be a Democrat, but also have common sense. Unfortunately, it starts and stops with John Fetterman.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's another Democrat right now that left the Democratic Party and became an independent who is a fan of, her name is not Molly, but she's a fan of Molly. And there's this, Rob told me the story this morning. I couldn't believe it. So, you know, here's Kyrsten Sinema. Rob, again, this sounds like from a movie. Like, this doesn't sound real. Rob, go ahead and play this clip.
Former U.S. Senator Kyrsten Sinema is being sued as a homewrecker for allegedly ruining a 14-year marriage. The lawsuit was filed in North Carolina by a woman named Heather Amell. She's the now ex-wife of a former Sinema bodyguard and Senate staffer. North Carolina is one of the few states that has a so-called homewrecker law, and that allows people to sue a spouse's lover who may have played a role in a breakup of a marriage. Amell claims Sinema had an affair with her husband during trips across the country and around the world, and that Sinema used campaign funds to pay for all of it. The senator also accused of ethics violations for those same trips while she was still in office. Amell is seeking more than $25,000 in damages. Her ex-husband, Matthew Amell, was hired as a security guard for Sinema in 2022. He later joined her Senate staff. Court papers claim Sinema sent encrypted messages to Amell on the app Signal that were of a romantic nature and told him to bring the drug MDMA or Molly on a work trip so she could, quote, guide him through a psychedelic experience because he was suffering from PTSD. He's a former service member.
Guide him.
Sinema was elected as a Democrat.
That's the word nowadays. 3 years ago was entanglement. Today it's guide me. Let me guide you where to. Anyways, you can pause that right there.
That's insane.
Okay, so there was $75,000 from Sinema, Matthew, and Heather. By the way, can we see what at least he looked like? He looks like the bodyguard. I'd like to see. I want to know what the bodyguard looks like and what the ex-wife looks like. If you can pull that up, the Arizona lawmaker, head of security, Matthew Amell, after he retired from the Army in 2022, according to the. Him. But that's him, and look at the way she's looking at him. Is that her behind her?
Yes,
that's
indeed.
Rob. Is that Rob Gargiulo? What is going on? Is he a pants on?
Rob, are you in an entanglement?
Rob, is that really him?
Yes, sir.
And then what does his wife look like, ex-wife look like? Can we get a little bit of a. Sinema also paid for psychedelic treatment for Amell, who has struggled with post. Okay. Anyways, crazy story that just came out. Little weird story, but it's politics. You know, stuff like this happens. What do you think about the story, Vinny? Where are you at with this?
I mean,
does it make you want to DM Kyrsten Sinema? You're like, you know what? She sounds interesting. Maybe, hey.
Well, she's bisexual, and Matthew began to communicate more frequently to point. Heather noticed him single messaging and then sent it, including when. Listen, I mean. Again, this is politics, and I know I brought up House of Cards recently. I want everybody out there. I mean, I'm being dead. I know you've seen it, right, Pat? You've seen the House of Cards?
Of course.
First season only. If you want to, and I'm being dead serious, you want to find out what Washington is like, politics, you know, sexual relations, gay. Go do me a favor. Kevin Spacey did a freaking phenomenal job, and they freaking pulled back the curtain on what Washington and these people are like. I'm not surprised. And using campaign financing. Does it
This
surprise
is
you?
shocking. You know, here you have Senator Sin with me. I mean, Sinema.
Sinema, Tom.
Sinema,
Yeah.
not. You know, drug, sex, rock,
That
and
joke
roll.
didn't land, Tom. I just want you to know. I just want to make
Tom,
sure.
I've
One out of
encouraged
10,
you to
but that one
continue your
didn't land.
comedy
But keep
career,
going.
but-
No, keep going, Tom.
So I used to think drug, sex, rock, and roll was like the soundtrack of the '60s. Now it's branches of government.
Yeah.
Okay, Ann, do you care about the story?
No, it's interesting. I guess she wasn't a lesbian that long if she's going after this
You
guy.
gotta respect that a little bit.
I know, yeah, totally.
Yeah,
we got
totally,
one
yeah.
back.
We'll have one back.
That's always. I love this home wrecker law. I think every state should
North
consider having
Carolina.
one. I will say we don't know the truth because it's a legal filing, but to bring it under home wrecking and not just have it come up generally in divorce papers. In general, you can't believe divorce papers, but home wrecker law.
What do you think about home wrecking law?
I don't know about home wrecking law, but I'll tell you what I think about Kyrsten Sinema. Just when I thought politicians have reached an all-time low, here's Kyrsten Sinema and brings it right back. She's my new favorite politician. And I'll tell you why. As someone that's born and raised in the nightlife scene in Miami, I've never met anybody that has ever done Molly, MDMA, marijuana, no drugs.
tell the
Miami's
other-
a very clean
Yeah.
thing. So I will give her
She
credit
would
about
do
something.
Molly and her husband.
When Joe Biden was trying to pass all these ridiculous laws, there were two people that stood in his way, these independents. One was my favorite politician, Joe Manchin.
Yeah.
And then she was the second one.
Yeah.
So Joe
She was.
Manchin
You're
got
right.
a lot of credit
Yeah.
for basically stopping
But
this
do you care
woke
about
agenda.
this? Do you care about this?
I'll tell you
Does
why.
this
I'll tell you
change
why
your
I don't
political
care about it.
opinions about this?
It's the same thing with John Fetterman. As long as you're actually a policy person, I don't care if you have a brain injury, if you're wearing a hoodie everywhere you go. Do what's right for America. If she wants to do some
What do you think
bisexual
about the home wrecker
MDMA,
law?
I don't care.
What do you think about
as
the
long
home
as you're a
wrecker law?
person that's
what
doing
do you
good
think
policies.
about the home wrecker law?
So what is the exact?
Like you're wrecking, you're ruining someone's marriage.
No, it's a
I
free
think
country.
It's great.
I
Free
love
country.
it.
What do you think
It'll
about
slow people. It'll be a law. Like
what is the exact law? Can
you're
we
gonna
read
go
it?
rule. So
Read-
let's.
read
It's
the
a
home wrecker law.
long-standing tort. It's been in existence through common law forever. It used to be called alienation of affection. And I
love
think
that.
it's
The
fantastic.
Alienation of Affection Act.
And
Okay.
by the way, this is a home wrecker law, officially called alienation of affection, allows a spouse to sue a third party for interfering with and causing the breakdown of their marriage, seeking money. Adam, because you're probably going to get in trouble for this, damaging for emotional harm, but it's only recognized in the U.S. in a handful of states. But Pat, just to go back to
North Carolina,
This is
Mississippi, and Utah.
MDMA, because
Okay,
you asked
Adam,
about
you're
this
good.
is absolute BS.
MDMA, yeah, obviously.
Can I tell you why it's absolute BS?
Why?
I'll be quick. So you're going to put the guilt and blame on the third party who has no affiliation? What about the husband? What about the wife that cheats?
But they know that you're married.
That's the problem.
But if they know that you're married
No,
and they're
you
coming
get
in.
him in the divorce.
Do you know how many women are attracted to men with wedding
She's
rings?
slipping
It's
MDMA
their
in his
thing.
drink. By the way, did you know
She's,
that?
she's drugging him? That's
Yeah,
illegal.
Well, in the 1970s
But is he doing it
and
willingly?
early 1980s, therapists quietly used MDMA in guided sessions, and the goal was to help couples lower fear, feel empathy, talk honesty, and just grab glow sticks and just go for it.
Oh, newsflash! Drugs make you a little bit looser.
Well, that's
Thanks,
what I'm
Vinny.
saying. Yeah, but guess what? If you're a girl or a guy and you're out there trying to sleep with married people and they have kids and they have a family, you're going to ruin their lives. I like the law going, hey, you
Do
know
you
what?
know how many
I'm gonna
young
sue
women
you.
should be in jail right now?
Well,
then
guess what? Adam, it's a sin.
This will
You're gonna ruin the
discourage
freaking yeah.
There's no discouraging young drunk women from
If
making
there's-
bad decisions.
yeah, if you could get sued, there will
They
be.
don't care.
Okay. you
So
get sued.
I don't know. I think this.
Listen,
is
don't
this a,
take that market away from Adam.
I apologize.
Listen, I'm a one-woman man these days.
Tom, go ahead, Tom.
No, James. There was a very, movie.
Insert inappropriate joke. Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead, Tom.
No.
Thank you for catching
He's
yourself.
got to make up for the last joke.
Roger, James Bond has got all of the relationship premises that you'd ever want to see. But the one that I love is Daniel Craig, and she says, "Am I not your type?" And
this joke is killing Tom. Go ahead.
and he looks, and she says, "Am I not your type?" Like, says, "Forceful? No. Single."
Yeah.
Because
he did it.
he was only dating.
We love
He
you,
only
Tom.
hooked up with
Because he
Mary.
was,
Wow.
because he was messing with
I
the
think
married
that's 0
girl
for
of the
2.
bad guy.
I think that's 0 for 2, right?
give him another
But Tom,
chance. He'll
Keep,
go
keep
0
it
for
going. Keep it going. You'll get one here.
Guys,
Tom will
put
get
a
it.
"We love you" in the
That's
chat
great. You're not my
for Tom.
Tom.
If you want to hear more of his
have
dad
to tell
jokes.
you, like, listen,
All right.
forget the home wrecker law, which fine, I'm for the states that want to apply it, makes sense, have that in place. But for all the other stuff with her, you know, it's politics. It's a nasty world. You know, I don't even think she's in the top 50 of the craziest stories that happens in politics. You remember that one clip where the one guy was, what was he at, Robbie? They were gay politicians. They were in there doing some stuff, and the picture came out where the guy was sitting on
bent over in the
this
Senate
doesn't make
halls.
it in the top 50. Like
Yeah.
some, I bet there's other guys that,
That
are
was a
saying
decade ago.
that
This
was
is
not a decade.
recent.
No, they had.
Do you know why this was?
They had
Himself having
sex
sex in
in a
Congress.
congressional hearing room.
Yeah, that was 40 years
Oh,
old.
that was staff.
This
Oh,
to
no, we're
me,
talking about the senator.
Spent a little bit in the psych ward.
this to me is the equivalent of term limits. So you're gonna have congressmen and women say, yeah, let's pass laws to make sure I can't cheat or I have to leave office. No
By the way,
chance.
in this case,
Okay,
the
let's
psych
go.
ward is pronounced Senate.
Let's go to the
they
next
get sued.
story. Let's go to the next story, and we got to get to Iran as well. So let's do a
Ann's
couple
dying.
other
She's
stories.
itching for some
I know.
Iran
I'm
stories.
just going to wait for that one because that one we're going to get to here in a minute. But let's get into. Matter of fact, let's just get into Iran.
Let's
get
do
into
it.
Iran. Let's get into Iran. Okay. So a lot's been happening. But let's go to the Bret Baier interview, Rob, if you can. Bret Baier is interviewing Iran's foreign minister, and they have multiple heated moments. Rob, I think we got 3, 4, 5 clips to show. But let's start off with the one where they, right off the bat, Bret Baier calls him out, and he gets a little bit uncomfortable, and we'll watch the other ones. And again, these are claims. The numbers you hear confirmed is 2,000 plus. The numbers you hear not confirmed, but a lot of publications are reporting right now, is 12,500. A lot of people in the streets are saying the number is 20, 30, 40,000. But let's just go with that. Here's Bret Baier questioning the foreign minister of Iran. Go ahead, Rob.
And you're suggesting that it's Israel and Mossad acting like Iranian forces, shooting the Iranian people to make casualties to spur on the action of President Trump. I'm just saying there's a lot of people that don't believe that, Mr. Foreign Minister.
No, Mossad has already confessed that.
They may
Just
be on the
look at
ground, sir, but as far as them killing hundreds and hundreds of people to make it look like you did, it does not appear in the video that we get out.
Okay, so that's one of them, right? Now go to the next one, Rob. And by the way, let's stay on that since he's talking about Israel and Mossad. Netanyahu's plane leaves Israel's airspace mysteriously on January 14th, which is 2 days ago. Now, this could be, you know, the key word here is mysteriously can be used in anything, right? It can be used, Adam mysteriously left on time this morning from Miami to come to the podcast. Mysteriously. Why did he mysteriously leave 15 minutes earlier, right? There could be a lot of different things. But Netanyahu plane leaves. Rob, do you have that clip of Netanyahu's plane leaving early from and what they were comparing it to is the last 2 times he left this way, there was an attack. One of them was on a nuclear sites that they had. Yeah, this is him apparently leaving mysteriously. Where is he going to? So they reported on this. This was all over the place. So I'm going to come back to this story since we're on Israel, and then I'm going to go back to the foreign minister. Netanyahu halts Trump from bombing Iran as Israel delivers vital intelligence on regime crackdown. And Tom, I want to come to you with this one here. Benjamin Netanyahu asked Donald Trump to not launch military strikes against the Ayatollah's Islamic regime over fears Iran would retaliate against Israel. The Israel prime minister spoke to Trump on Wednesday shortly before the president told reporters that he had received information from very important sources on the other side that Iran had stopped executing anti-regime protesters. Netanyahu had previously spoken to J.D. Vance on Tuesday, the same day that White House officials met to discuss military options against Iran. According to the New York Times, other Gulf nations, including Qatar, Saudi, Oman, and Egypt, have also implored the White House not to attack Iran over fears it could lead to regional conflict. Tom, thoughts on this story?
So there's 2 thoughts here that are flowing. One is that Netanyahu is in both sides of the president's ears. One side, he's in there, you know, you have to do this with Iran. Iran's the manipulator. This is what's going on. And he's sort of a flattering bird on one shoulder, trying to get Trump to move one way. And on the other way, as a genuinely Israeli intelligence was saying, hey, we're not fully ready for what they might do. And they're so unstable, they might do more than a more rational, less rebellious Iran would do right now, because their backs are up against the wall and they're cornered in these other areas. Be careful. And then you have the other Arab states saying, hang on, this could escalate. So I'm more with the second group that said that with a destabilized Iran, they might react more irrationally, more harshly than they would normally in a more stable, if you can use stable and Iran in the same sentence, a political zone, if you will, and that everyone's out there, Pat, saying Iran's destabilized. You don't know what kind of crazy reaction they might have here. Maybe we don't want to do this right now. And on the other hand, you got people saying, oh, here you go again. Netanyahu's right in Trump's ear, and he's kind of guiding him more than we all think. But I think it's the latter.
Adam.
So let me just get this straight. Bret Baier, professional journalist, is pressing the foreign secretary. What is his exact title?
Abbas Araghchi.
Okay.
Foreign minister.
Foreign minister. Yes. And he's basically saying, hey, word on the street is you're murdering your own people. And he goes, ... well, it's Israel, right? And Bret Baier goes, yeah, I don't think so. Is that the basic premise of that conversation, if you don't mind? Okay, got it. Well, let's go with some facts here. Does Israel take out Iranian nuclear scientists? You betcha they do. Does Israel take out leaders and generals of Hamas and Hezbollah? Beep, beep. Now maybe your belt doesn't work and anything about that? You bet they do. What Israel or Mossad does not do is kill innocent people. Hey, Iranian regime, that's your job, buddy. That's your job, because the reality is, you know, they say that sunlight is the best disinfectant. Do you remember when your good friend Reza Pahlavi told everybody a week ago, 8 p.m., everybody get out there and protest and then do it at 8 p.m. Do you remember this? Do you know what happened by 8:30 p.m.? They cut the internet and started murdering thousands of people. And there's videos. This is the #1 story in the Wall Street Journal. A massacre happened the 24 hours that bloodied Iran. And by the way, this Wall Street Journal, pretty credible newspaper, they don't mention Israel and Mossad once. They're looking at you, Ayatollah Khamenei, for killing your own people. Now, if you want to scroll down just a little bit, Rob, you can show actual videos. There's a video of Iranian police murdering their own people. So, you know, they say, like, don't believe your lying eyes. Well, what is this? So, to me, it's absolute buffoonery for anyone that believes something like this. Last point, Bret Baier, I know we had a great moment with him. I don't know if you negotiated his new contract. He deserves it.
Probably.
That's a real journalist. Sidetrack, hey, Tucker Carlson, maybe that's what you should do when you have the president of Iran on, not give him sort of a fluffy interview. That's how you hold these people's feet to the fire and represent the people of Iran, not your own Qatari interest. That's my opinion.
And where are you at on this specific story? Because we got a few more Iran story going on.
First, I'll just say briefly why I don't care about this story, which is I'm sorry, I just don't care about the rest of the world right now. We're sort of in the habit of this since 9/11, but what happens in Iran really doesn't affect this country. I love Venezuela. I wrote about it 2 weeks ago. This is our hemisphere. It does give us an opportunity to talk about the worst, you know, the masterful handling of Iran by Jimmy Carter, and that's always good to remind people of, that he created this mess. But it doesn't matter to us. We need to get back to our country. Our country is in a lot of trouble. You know, why not Gambia? Why not Rwanda? I don't want to hear about other countries. Anyway, that's why.
But by the way, you know what's crazy? I fully understand that argument from an American. I fully get it. And for me, a part of it is who should care more about Iran and their regime than Israel? Us or Israel?
Israel.
Right.
Closer.
They're neighbors.
Regional
right?
neighbor.
Remember, Donroe is what? This is our
Western
hemisphere. Okay, this is our job. This is what we're going to be taking care of. This affects us. This is our neighborhood. This is what I'm going to be taking care of. I'm fully with that. Having said that, on the opposite side, and I want to get your thoughts on this as well, is for the Iranians around the world who they live in Europe, they live in Spain, they live in Paris,
They live in
they
LA.
live in Beverly Hills, yeah, they live in Chicago, they live in New York. They're here, you know, they're living in Miami. These guys want to see this regime fall because they see what happened to their families. In the last 47 years, in their opinion, nothing's happened because no U.S. president has been wanting to get involved and do anything to them and intervene. And the last time they didn't intervene was with Jimmy Carter and the Shah. And the Shah fell. Khomeini came in. Since then, it's been chaotic. So, and then you can go back and look at the history, how back in the days, Mossadegh, he wins. He's there for 2 years and 4 months. He nationalizes the oil. And then UK is like, wait a minute, you're not doing that. British Petroleum, OPEC, we're there. We're running all this stuff. You guys don't have the infrastructure to run it. We came and build the whole thing in Abadan, and we're doing this. No. So then they got rid of him. They brought the Shah in, and the Shah stays there for 37 years. And a market opens up for everybody, and the Middle East is at peace. So there was the argument comes from that side, that it created a lot of noise. And so this last week, when you're talking about the Reza Pahlavi asking the Iranians to go on the streets, this is an interview that he got criticized for heavily. Because in this interview, Nora, I don't know what her last name is. It Nora O'Donnell? Nora
O'Donnell?
Nora O'Donnell from
is
this
CBS?
CBS? Yeah.
She's an incredible
a very
journalist.
good pointed question, Rob. If you want to play this clip, go for it.
But as you are urging people to protest and go to the streets, the death toll is rising in Iran. This violent crackdown continues just as it has in past attempted revolutions. I mean, is it responsible to be sending citizens in Iran to their deaths? Do you bear some responsibility?
As I said, this is a war, and war has casualties. In fact, in order to preserve and protect and minimize the death toll, minimize innocent victims yet again be killed by this regime, action is needed. The regime is going to try and brutalize its citizenry as it has always done. But we are in a fight for liberation. I didn't ask the people to come to the streets to fight against the regime because I wanted so. They asked me to step in to help them and to be their voice on the outside world, to do everything that we can so we make this uprising successful this time. And I think we have some serious leaders that understand what is necessary, that understand the ask of the Iranian people, and are responding to that. I think President Trump is responding to the call that the Iranian people have. The Iranian people have heard his words. They are naming streets after him in Iran.
You can pause it right
there. There's a difference.
So when President Trump and his team watches this, what do you think they say? Do they say, this is the guy we can get behind and help Iran be free again? Or do you think they say, I don't know if he has it or not? I don't know. Do they look at this and say this shows strong leadership? Do they look at this and say, this guy's going to be able to go and, win the people over and do that? I don't know. Here's what Trump did say. The president said, Trump praises Iran exiled royal as very nice, but doesn't go as far as fully supporting regime change bid. Okay, Rob, is this the Hugh Hewitt clip? We've seen this one already. So I know this one here on him saying this. If you want to play this one more time, you can go ahead and play the clip. It's only 30 seconds.
Would you meet with Crown Prince Pahlavi, who is the heir to the constitutional monarchy? He doesn't want to rule. He would be a symbolic ruler like King Charles.
Well, I've watched him, and he seems like a nice person, but I'm not sure that it would be appropriate at this point to do that as president. I think that we should let everybody go out there and we see who emerges. I'm not sure necessarily that it would be
so that's Hugh
appropriate
Hewitt.
thing
Now,
to
this
do.
is an interview with Reuters on Wednesday, that this is a different interview. In an Oval Office interview with Reuters, he said that while Reza Pahlavi seems like a nice guy, Trump wasn't sure the Iranian population would accept the crown prince as the country's leader. The conversation happened moments after Trump appeared to pump the brakes on an American military intervention, something the president has been threatening for weeks, as the Islamic regime has brutally cracked down on widespread protests. He seems very nice, but I don't know how he'd play within his own country, the president said of Pahlavi, and we really aren't up to that point yet. I don't know whether or not his country would accept his leadership, and certainly if they would, that would be fine with me. Trump said it was possible that the government of Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei could fall amid the demonstrations, though added, in truth, anti-regime can fall. Whether or not it falls or not, it's going to be an interesting period of time. Trump added, Pahlavi was born in Tehran, the son of the U.S.-backed Shah Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi, who Iranians overthrew. The 65-year-old Pahlavi, who lives in D.C. suburbs, has played a very vocal role in the protests from abroad, but on the ground, there appears to be a little organized support for the country to again be ruled by the monarchy. So, I mean, that's what
he just from me watching him speak, and with all due respect, and again, he's not the guy. These people, where my mom and dad and my grandparents are from, where your whole family's from, they don't need a Zoom call leader, okay? They need somebody that's going to be there with them on the ground, okay? Reza Pahlavi lives in Washington, D.C. He's been there for 47 years, and this isn't a knock on him. He has a life. He has kids. They're in school. They have jobs. Whatever they're doing, this is a whole different situation. And by the way, just really fast on the Israel thing, we all know the arguments, the debates we've gotten into about me and Israel and criticizing all this stuff. Put that to the side. This is an organic revolution. Enough of the Israel put people in the, just shut up with that noise, okay? Their leader is tweeting stuff that's saying that we will kill the president, him getting shot in the head, we won't miss, okay? They're murdering protesters. And you know what I saw, Pat? I'm not going to show it. I didn't want to send it to Rob. The IRGC are going into hospitals looking for people that were protesting that are injured, and they're shooting them in the head. I saw that. And I saw the bodies in the body bags with the catheters because they were in that room, okay? And I'm tired, and Ann makes a very, very fair point. Why do we care? We have enough problems going on. We have enough stuff over there. The only reason I say we have to care, Ann, is because if we let them put somebody else in that's worse than this guy, or another guy that's Islamist or whatever, it's a problem that's going to get worse and get worse and get worse. And I'm not trying to say we have to be the police of the world, but these people are begging for help. And if you don't mind, Pat, this got me emotional. I'll probably not even be able to go through it. I want to play a phone call that was recorded of, I think, an American-Iranian girl from here. Her mother finally calls her and gets a hold of her. She can't even speak freely because of the regime is surveilling them. This is just tell me this doesn't hurt you. Go ahead, Rob.
Mama.
Watch this. They're shooting people with machine guns. Don't cry. We're okay. I called you 15 times. We're okay. Can you hear me? Don't cry. They've killed 12,000 people. They massacred all of Islam. Yeah. We ran away. Can't talk on the phone. The phones are controlled. Mom, say something. Tell me something. It's a very bad situation. And she's crying. Stop. She's bawling. This goes on. They've killed so many. She's in her 70s. She goes, she's weak. She can't do anything. So for people to sit there and try to blame everybody else, the people have done it organically. God bless them. I hope for them. This is where we have to help. We have to help. And with all due respect, Reza, nice guy. You were the first one that called him a nice, sweet guy. Trump always talks off he doesn't BS. He doesn't sugarcoat. The moment he was asked, he goes, yeah, no, he's not the guy. He knows he's not the guy, Pat. He knows.
You know, your discussion of Mossadegh and the Shah remind me of why I think we should not be getting involved. And yes, it would be great if the people overthrew and, you know, fixed it themselves. I don't think they will. I think most of the world is not fit for democracy. Mossadegh was a ridiculous clown. He had to be taken out. He was taken out by the CIA, and the United States supported the Shah. Everything was great then. As long as we're installing puppets around the world, things are going to go great. You don't want to let them vote. And especially you don't want to let them vote now. I mean, I don't think I really want to lose the Iranians, or Persians as we call them, in Beverly Hills. They're great. They're totally right-wing. The most civilized, educated Iranians have left. And it's the same thing with Venezuela. It's the same thing with Cuba. if we're going to be installing puppet governments and holding them up, and we have to protect them, let's start with our hemisphere and see how it goes. And then maybe we can get back. And also, let's also remember that this is all Jimmy Carter's fault.
Well, are you joking or are you being serious?
It is all Jimmy Carter's fault.
I agree. I fully agree with you there.
Total. And what was his name? Richard Falk at Princeton, who promised everyone, don't worry, the people will vote for Khomeini. It will be wonderful. The people's revolution. Yeah, there's your Princeton professor for you.
Yeah, I've seen that as well.
Look, we've seen it in our government. When a nice guy that should be an ambassador or should be in a think tank becomes president, Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, you have problems because you need leaders in times of crisis. And this guy happens to be the son of the prior leader. That doesn't make him, that gives him proximity. That doesn't give him the presence, the power, the personality, and everything he needs to lead. And I think he appears to be a very nice man. He appears to be, ambassadorial. He's got certain presence. But is he ready to go into this beehive and to do what's necessary to lead it through it? I don't think so. And we can make assessments like that because we saw it happen in our government. I was of age when Jimmy Carter, basically on these human rights campaigns in the name of human rights, ignored warning signs of destability in governments in the name of human rights. And this mess started. We've seen it. And this is not what the world needs. The world needs strength and clarity and leadership that probably needs to be protected by the U.S. government to get the job done what they need to do.
Adam.
Sir, I don't care one way or another about Reza Pahlavi. I'm not on his team or not on his team. But I am on the side of the Iranian people, no doubt. So when he says, this is a war, we have to do... This is not a war, homeboy. This is one side with guns and the other side with cell phones at best.
Massacre, it's called.
So that's not a war. That's number one. Number two, as much as I love our friend Ann Coulter, I do care about the other side of the world. And I'll tell you why. I think this is as America first as it gets, supporting the people of Iran because of China. I understand the Monroe Doctrine and the Monroe Doctrine. But if Venezuela falls, which is looking very likely, obviously, and if Iran falls, that helps America in monumental ways and destroys China. Because where do they get their oil? Venezuela and Iran. So these are moves that on the surface, I get it. Listen, no more foreign wars. We want to be some sort of isolationist, maybe be a little more pragmatic. But if these moves help bring down China, that would only help America. Last point is this. There's this whole thing of, remember when Dave Smith, the famous comedian, hilarious, worldwide comedian, said, Iran is not a threat. Iran is not a threat. Do you remember that tweet, Rob? Do you have that? Well, here's some evidence as to why, I sent it to you in a text, of why Iran is actually a threat. And we do need to pay attention to the country that has coined the phrase, death to America. Do you have that tweet, Rob, that I sent it to you? So they tried to kill Trump. They tried to kill Secretary Pompeo. They tried to kill John Bolton. Not the worst thing, not condoning
By the way,
that.
everybody's texting that Twitter is down. Just so you know, that's
gotcha.
why he can't pull it up.
But
Yeah, right now Twitter is down.
There's
my
evidence.
gosh.
And what did they just say about Trump? Next time we won't miss.
They'll miss.
Did he not say that?
Yeah.
But the point is they're threatening our president. And excuse me, we're one earlobe away from Kamala Harris or Weekend at Biden's being president. So these geopolitical conversations do have ramifications. And when someone who presents himself as the smartest person in the room said something like this, you tend to, maybe this guy's got some credibility. And then what happens is our old friend Dave Smith runs into someone infinitely smarter than him named Coleman Hughes. And all of a sudden, Dave's back to being a struggling comedian, not so much a pundit.
Yeah. So, by the way, if you want to go back to, is it showing Twitter's down, Rob?
Yes.
Reports are showing that Twitter's down. Can you show that again, the report you had up?
Yes, hang on one second.
Which one is that?
This is
It's
horrifying.
down detector, and it just spiked that. Right there it is.
Yeah, so it is down.
Whoa.
Okay, reports are coming in, but it's saying it's not fully down. The services appear to be up and running, but as of right now, it's still down. Anyways, go back to the Kalshi part. Go back to the Kalshi part, Rob. You just had it. Ali Khamenei out as supreme leader. A week ago, 75%. Today, down to pretty much, 25, depending on by when. September 1st, July 1st, April 1st, 2026, down. Then if you go to Mohammed Reza Pahlavi, because, you know, this had to be up. Will the United States recognize Reza Pahlavi as the leader of Iran? A week ago, 90%.
90% yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Today,
January
28%.
Stop it.
Yes.
Sir, may I understand this?
Yeah.
A week ago was 90%
I'm
chance?
showing you what Kalshi
Look,
says. 97.6% chance was January 8th.
Today is the
Today is
15th?
16th.
So 1 week ago.
1 week ago, he went from 98% to 28%.
So he's the Pierre Poilievre
He is
of Iran.
He is
Canada.
the Pierre Poilievre of Iran.
Why
And by
is
the way,
it-
the last 3 days, Adam, he spent time with our leaders in Washington.
So can I ask you a very
Did you hear what Tom just said?
100%.
What did Tom
He
just
said
say?
that they spent time with our leaders in Washington.
And what does that mean, though?
That means the more and more that people have been around him, they recognize he ain't that dude.
That's what Tom is trying to
Bingo.
say. Yeah,
I get Tom
ahead.
Kornacki.
Go ahead, Adam.
Why do you think that is, Pat? Sincerely. The more you spend time around
Let me
him.
ask you a question.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question.
Fell before that.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, though. Here's the question. Let's just say, do you think for Iran to go through their revolution, a country that any day anybody complains about the Second Amendment, if Iran had Second Amendment, none of this stuff is happening right now, by the way. If Iran had Second Amendment, if the Iranian people could defend themselves, you think the cops going out there with a shotgun shooting people free? No. Like, you realize in America, if something like that, you know who'll be the first one coming out? Mongols, Hells Angels, biker gangs. They're going to come out. So what are you doing? Do you remember that one time? I think the George Floyd, if I'm not mistaken, riots was going on, and they decided to go to Huntington Beach, if I'm not mistaken, in LA.
That is correct.
The biker gangs rolled up and said, come on, come through us. And they're like, change your plans. We're leaving this place. We're going to go to a different place. Second Amendment in America, phenomenal. Every single day you should be thankful the fact that we have that in America. Was this it, Rob, when they were trying to do it? Yeah, protests when all of a sudden like, no, you're not going to come through here. Forget about the cops. The biker folks showed up and like, yeah, we'll skip today's deal of doing anything with these guys. So, but let me go back to this. To have a revolution happen in a country like Iran against a regime like IRGC, Islamic Revolutionary Guard, in a society where it's like the supreme leader, the phrase they use, their supreme leader, their supreme. American journalists say their supreme leader, What's his name is Khamenei. It's not your supreme leader is somebody else. That's their supreme leader, right? Khamenei. What do you think you're going to need to do if you're in America as an outsider? Actually, say you are part of Trump's advisors, and somebody brings a guy in who's sitting right in front of us right now, interviewing to be the leader of Iran to help go through the transition. What 5 questions do you have for him if you want to support him?
Are you moving to Iran?
Are you willing to move to Iran?
So let's just say that's one. And he says, of course, but he's been here for 48 years.
Are you willing to put your life on the line and die for this cause?
Oh, is that really the real question?
No.
I don't think that's the real question.
What percentage of people support you?
Say that again?
What percentage of people support you?
What percentage? He says to you.
In the population, not of Beverly Hills.
He says to you 80% in Iran.
I don't believe
we run the
Okay,
numbers?
so you don't believe it. What's your next question?
Do you think Iran wants a monarchy or a democracy?
Let's let the people decide, because that's the answer he's given to everybody. That's not our business. That's the people's business.
Well,
that's what he's saying.
Is he gonna like? If I was them, I want leverage and be like, hey, listen, you're gonna listen to what we say.
But what other questions do you have? Like, what is the most important question that you have?
What makes you a great leader?
Okay, so let me say before he walked in, we're sitting together here, and here's what we're saying. We made a decision. Hey guys, if we like this guy, at what level do we want to intervene? Okay? You're J.D. Vance. You say, listen, no more than what we did with Venezuela. I don't want troops on the ground staying there, Iraq, 20 years, $3 trillion. Marco Rubio says, well, it depends on what we're going to get in return. Okay? Because let's just say Marco Rubio is a little bit more of a neocon, and he's open to the idea, and he's having a conversation. But let's just say the 5 of us, that's an odd number, which is good, 3 people are going to say, and then, okay. We say, look, if it's a little bit of intervention, I'm open to it. But full on, I want to interview this guy to see if we can get the job done with little bit of intervention, or do we need to do everything for him? So if that's the mindset that we're going in with, what's the most important question to ask? Whose support does he need? Whose support does he need? Not just the people. Who also support do you need?
The military.
The military. The military.
Right.
So I'm going to ask you and say, okay, how many people from the military are flipping and supporting you? Show me. How many of them? So you know what I would do? If you're running, like if you really, really, really want to do something, why don't we see how many Iranian military have turned and become supporter you? And by the way, you know how it starts? By pockets. You get Tabriz. You get, Abadan. You get smaller pockets. You don't go straight to Tehran. You start from the outside and you come fully inside, because there are a lot of people that are on the verge, but they don't want to be the first. You ever seen that one TED Talks where the guy shows and says, here's the guy that just goes out and he starts dancing like this, and it's the most embarrassing dance. Have you seen this video? You ever seen this video or no? Where the guy's just dancing like a horrible dancing and everyone's looking at him. But he goes for 5 seconds and they're thinking he's going to stop. He goes for 20 seconds and they're thinking he's going to stop. 30 seconds later, another guy goes in and he doesn't know what he's doing. He's just kind of going like this. He says 20 seconds after the second guy, couple hundred people are dancing with him. And he says the most important person is the first true believer in you that is willing to step up. Who has stood up from the military unit and said, we're all with Reza Pahlavi? Who? Nobody. That's the question I'm going to be asking, Tom. I'm going to ask the question, has the military from Iran flipped to support this man? What else would you ask him? Because I think that's really how this works. Yesterday, 2 days ago, we're interviewing a guy that wants to be the general manager of David Consulting. And we have some finalists, but he's the final guy. He interviews with Tom, Paul, he interviews with Casey, a couple other people he interviews, but then he comes with me and RJ, and then we go to dinner with them to introduce him to the BDC guys. BDC guys are interviewing with them. What do you think we're asking afterwards? What questions are you asking?
How do you guys feel? Do you believe who he says he is? Is he qualified for the job? Do you think he's going to be long-term? There's a bunch of stuff I would be asking.
So to me, if this all of a sudden happened to the Iranian people who are saying Trump is Jimmy Carter 2.0, maybe instead of saying, is Trump Jimmy Carter 2.0, Jimmy Carter's case was there was already a stable guy in Iran named Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi that had figured everything out. This was a guy that was not afraid of calling people out. He stood his ground. He gave his opinion. In this scenario, this is not the same case as Jimmy Carter 2.0 because Iran doesn't have a leader. During Carter, there was a definite leader called Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi. Right now, there's not a definite leader. If there was, they would have easily said yes. So I said this a week ago. God forbid you call out anything with Reza Pahlavi's community. I have no idea. By the way, for a guy who's a massive fan of Reza Pahlavi, okay, the family, for a guy that collects everything I can get my hands, if you want to give me a nice gift, get me an old coin, gold of Reza Pahlavi. Get me old magazines of Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi. I have all those collections in my safe in different places that I hold on to. But God forbid you say something and criticize them even just a little bit. They shiver. Yep. How dare you? Reza Pahlavi to them is not a candidate. To them, it's their Jesus.
Yes.
It's their Jesus. It's their prophet Muhammad. God forbid you criticize and say anything about him. Now, by the way, the one thing on the opposite side, so to me, I said this last week about Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi. I said, if you don't pull it off, you're done. I said this a week ago. And the community lost their shit, and they came, who the hell do you think you are? All this other stuff. Week later, here's where you are. So guess what? Does it mean it's done? It's very close to being done. Very close to being done. Why? Because somebody couldn't close the deal. Guess what? Diplomacy. You know what? Well, no, it's Elon Musk's fault. It's Trump's fault. It's your fault. No, it's called be a flippin' diplomat. It's called go build those relationships. It's called sit back down and realize how terrible you are. I'll build them relationships with individuals and then go. I have to talk to those people. You know who Trump called 2 days ago? About the 10% credit card interest rate. She was shell-shocked.
Elizabeth Warren. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Elizabeth Warren's being interviewed.
Pick up the phone.
Elizabeth Warren's being interviewed, and they're saying, did Trump really call you?
Yeah.
Yes. How did you feel about it? I'm not going to lie. I was very surprised that he called me and asked me, what do you think about the 10%? What is that called? That's called diplomacy. So, I hope you guys hold him accountable because he does play a very important role. And to Reza Pahlavi's credit, he did an interview yesterday which, by the way, it's the best one he's done. It's the best one he's done. I'm trying to see who it was with. I watched it. He did a phenomenal job with this interview. I liked his resolve. I liked how he handled himself in this interview. I wish I could find it. There's so many of them he's doing right now, but it was probably the best one that he did. And I'm not going to stop challenging him. I'd like to host a podcast with bringing different people from the Iranian side to talk to a bunch of different guys that have different opinions, and we'll be doing that here soon. But look, to the Iranian people, breaks my heart because my only first cousin in the world, and I only have one first cousin. My dad had 2 brothers and a sister. Between the 3, they had 0 kids, and they all lived past their 60s. It's not like they didn't have a chance. So 2 brothers and a sister, 0 kids. So I got no cousins from my dad's side. My mom's side, she only had 1 sibling. Him and I were very close back in the days, Robert. And he has 1 son. I only have 1 first cousin. You know where my 1 first cousin lives? In Iran. That's where he's at. My only first cousin lives in Iran. So we have family there. We have friends there. We have a lot of people there. And I really wanted to see this being able to be pulled off. But unfortunately, this is it. The more and more this dies down, and it gets quieter and quieter, and the momentum goes away, families have to go take their kids back and go to school and go back to their jobs, and they realize they had the greatest 2-week run. They got so close. Does that mean Trump's not going to do an attack like he did with Qasem Soleimani? No. Does that mean people can get killed? Remember how Israel works. Here's how Israel works. Israel is also, and Trump is also very much of a, let's make a story up. Netanyahu told them that you shouldn't attack and all this other stuff. Oh my God. Netanyahu controls Trump. 3 days later, boom, 7 leaders in Iran get killed.
Yeah.
To just also appreciate the president's unpredictability of what he's capable of doing. But number 1 rule, when that man came into interview with Witkoff, interview with Lindsey Graham, and he's leaving, what set of questions you're asking? Are these guys walking out calling Trump saying, I think he's the guy, let's roll, he's going to get it done, you need to meet with him? That didn't happen. Why not? Because if you would have met with them, what would you have told me, Tom, if you were impressed with a candidate? Say you work for President Trump. Say you met with Reza Pahlavi. Say you were blown away. Say your name is Witkoff. What advice would you give me if I'm Trump?
I think we can support this guy because he can pull the coalition together and he's got the support of the military. He'll need some of our intervention, some of our support, but I think his arms are long enough to pull the coalition together.
If you believed in him, how quickly would you say I should meet with him?
Mr. President, I think we should meet with him immediately now that he's met with all of us and we've got our stuff in order. I think we need to make the plan.
Does that sound logical?
Yes.
And it didn't happen.
Nope.
So why didn't it happen?
And by the way, I'll change the names and listen to this. You know who General Ver is? VER, very famous man in history. General Ver was the evil general henchman for Ferdinand Marcos. And General Ver pledged that he would support Marcos. So that's when the CIA said, okay, Marcos is our guy. Because for 20 years, General Ver supported Marcos in the Philippines. And that's what kept the peace in the Philippines. And the only reason that we selected Ferdinand Marcos, the CIA, was because he had the support of General Ver. So this has happened before in history where the U.S. makes sure that leader can carry the coalition. And that's exactly what we have here, and he can't.
Adam, final thoughts.
I just want to thank you for your breakdown because it helped me come to this conclusion. Reza Pahlavi is the opposite of Donald Trump. Let me explain. You talk about being battle-tested. We have one woman on this panel today who predicted in 2015 Donald Trump would be the president of the United States. But she did that when it was inconvenient and he was 1% chance. But what did Trump do? Get up on that stage and debate how many people?
Everybody.
20 different people. Boom, Jeb Bush. Boom, Marco Rubio. Boom, boom, Scott Walker. Bing, bing, bing. And he won it. Because in America, we've been so focused on DEI, we still don't forget this is still a meritocracy. And Trump showed up and said, I'm that dude. And he took out Hillary Clinton. The final point is here, just because your father was great doesn't mean that you're going to be great. Is Michael Jordan's son in the NBA? No. Is Magic Johnson's son in the NBA? No, he's wearing a dress somewhere, okay? Did Bill Clinton's wife become president? No. Is Barack Obama's wife becoming president? No. So there's a meritocracy is what America's founded on. This monarchy, Iran, if that's what you're looking for, but in America, that's not what we believe in.
Yeah. If you have any thoughts, I'll give it to you. If not, we'll go to the next story.
Let's go to the next story.
Okay.
She's
All right.
dying to talk more about it.
All right. Sounds good. Fair enough. All right, let's go to the next story. So this story I want to get to is cartoonist Dilbert. Final message before his death to his ex-wife, by the way. Have you guys seen this? To his ex-wife. And by the way, while this happened, okay, should I show what journalist Victoria Edo says, or should I say that afterwards? Let's play the clip first, Rob. Play the clip of what the ex-wife is saying with a letter that he wrote, Rob. If you got it, pull it up. Very emotional. I had to retweet it. I got this from Danny Canal sent it to me. Danny Canal sent it to me. Shout out to Danny. Watch this clip here. Go for it.
Everyone. Unfortunately, this isn't good news. Of course, he waited till just before the show started, but he's not with us right anymore. I'm going to try to get through this. He has a final message that he wanted to say, so I'm going to try to read it, trying to be strong. If you are reading this, things did not go well for me. I have a few things to say before I go. My body failed before my brain. I am of sound mind as I write this January 1st, 2026. If you wonder about any of my choices for my estate or anything else, please know I'm free of any coercion or inappropriate influence of any sort. I promise. Next, many of my Christian friends have asked me to find Jesus before I go. I'm not a believer, but I have to admit the risk-reward calculation for doing so looks so attractive to me. So here I go.
Logical guy.
I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior and look forward to spending an eternity with him. The part about me not being a believer should be quite quickly resolved if I wake up in heaven. I won't need any more convincing than that. I hope I'm still qualified for entry. With your permission, I'd like to explain my life. For the first part of my life, I was focused on making myself a worthy husband and parent as a way to find meaning. That worked, but marriages don't always last forever.
You can pause it right there. You can pause it right there. And it goes on. It's a 6-minute clip. If you haven't seen it, I recommend you watching it. So in the letter, he accepts Jesus Christ. His ex-wife is reading it, very sentimental. And then you get this story. Journalist Victoria Edo faces backlash over Scott Adams' obituary, disgraceful hit piece. Scott Adams, disgraced Dilbert creator, dies at 68 years old. Okay, Vinny, I'm going to come to you with this story because I know you got a lot of thoughts on this.
Yeah.
How do you react to this, Vinny?
Well, I mean, God rest his soul. I think, a couple people saw I'm saying that they when she read the letter, very emotional. If you weren't really paying attention, you would see, this was somebody, and I knew me and you were going to get into this conversation. So Adam, this is his last letter as he's dying, and he's saying, and I'll read it quick. Next, many of my Christian friends have asked me to find Jesus before I go. I'm not a believer, but I have to admit the risk-reward calculation for doing so looks attractive, so here I go. I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and I look forward to spending my eternity with him. The part about me not being a believer should be quickly resolved. If I wake up in heaven, I won't need any more convincing than that. I hope I'm still qualified for entry. As funny and as cool as it seems, it's kind of making a mockery of Christianity. Because when we talked about Adam, you always ask the question, Vinny, you mean a person could be a murderer and at the last moment he says, I'm sorry, and he goes to heaven? The same thing with the murderer that was on the cross with Jesus, but that one of them actually asked for forgiveness and was truly meant it, and Jesus said that you're going to be with me in paradise. This to me is like a last-ditch effort. Well, if it's true, then let's do it. I hope to God, Adam, that after this funny moment that he had, he really did have a moment where he seriously stopped and said Jesus, or somebody spoke to him, a pastor, a priest, and actually gave it to him. And actually he was honest, because this right here is what you talk about, that insurance policy. Oh, I'm going to die. Well, all right, I believe in Jesus. Yeah. That's not how it works. That's not how it works in this situation. I will, however, Patrick, there was a video that he made that hit me so hard. I sent it to Rob, and even Rob, you showed this to your son?
Yeah, I sent it to him.
It is such an awesome thing, guys. It's about laziness. I don't know if you saw. Have you seen this?
No.
It's about laziness, and he says that it's the habit of thinking about the effort instead of thinking about the outcome. I have Rob playing it at 1.5, so it's a little bit fast. But look at how amazing this is. This completely changed my thinking. Go ahead, Rob.
What if laziness is a habit of thinking about the cost of things or the effort instead of thinking about the payoff? I'm going to say it again to get a few more heads to explode. What if laziness is...
Is it on Twitter, or if it is, it's going to keep stopping?
So he says you can reverse laziness by simply developing a habit of thinking more about, like, for instance, the delicious food that you're going to eat instead of, like, the effort that it takes to do it. Like he said, like with kids, he goes, why do people have 3 or 4 kids? If people sat there and they're like, oh man, having the kid is the worst, you always hear them saying, I'm gonna have more kids, because it's you're focusing on the in between instead of what you're gonna. Is this it, Rob?
The payoff?
Yeah, the payoff, which is actually pretty freaking awesome. So that's a great thing that he had. Bob, you gonna play it?
I think we got the gist.
Yeah. Get a few more heads to explode. What if laziness is nothing but a habit of thinking about the effort instead of thinking about the outcome? What if you could reverse laziness by simply developing a habit of thinking more about the, let's say, the delicious food that you would like to enjoy instead of how long it would take you to get up and go get it? But the real question is, if you were to test this at home and try to see if you can think more about the good outcome and less about the work, would you get it done? Why is it that people have a second child?
Yep.
You know, why does a woman who goes through this awful, awful childbirth have a second child? Don't they always say the same thing? If I remembered how bad this was, I wouldn't do it again, right? So the not thinking about the effort is vital to actually the survival of humanity. If we focused on how hard it was to have a baby, you just wouldn't do it, or you do too little of it. But if you focus on how awesome it would be to have a family, well, there you go. You're going to go through the pain because you've already committed. Am I ambitious, or do I simply have a thinking habit which produces dopamine because I'm thinking about the positive outcome? And is the dopamine the thing that gets me up and moving? And when you're observing me, you say, how the hell do you get so much done? And how do I do it? I think it's just this. When I think of all the things I do, I think about them in terms of their benefits.
Rob,
so
you can pause it, Rob.
And Pat, and I think in regard to the People magazine girl, the fact that O.J. Simpson died, okay? O.J. Simpson, a murderer, died. And their headline was, O.J. Simpson dead at 76 from cancer, family announces. That's it right there. But when Scott Adams dies, because he was, a Trump supporter, look what they write. Scott Adams, disgraced Dilbert creator, dies at 68. A murderer gets the nice one, but a guy that liked Trump gets a disgrace. This is the day that he died. They write that. So that just goes to show you what People magazine.
Where are you at with the story, Ann?
Well, Vinny just made me feel very guilty because I meant to send Scott Adams my minister, Redeemer.com. It would convince anyone because I sort of agree with you. I hope he really believed it, but just taking Pascal's wager, that isn't going to do it.
Yeah.
And I know Tim Keller would have convinced him, and suddenly he was dead, and I hadn't sent it yet, so I'm feeling very bad about that. This reminds me, I was just thinking about this the other day, which is why, oh my gosh, Twitter being down is so much more important to me than Iran. Twitter is so important for the truth getting out there, including on immigration, like you were talking about. And, all the MSM is showing us is, oh, the poor illegal immigrant. Whoa, those aren't the ones you see those aren't the videos you see on Twitter. And it wasn't just that one. I mean, there was some horrible terrorist where the headline was, honored Islamic scholar dies.
Oh, I just sent that to Rob.
Okay.
Yeah, can I talk about that? Yes, go ahead.
But you see, those weren't the only ones. The contrast all over Twitter. So thank God for Twitter. And I interviewed Scott Adams on my Substack, and he was really interesting, and it was a lot of fun, and the racist thing was unfair. It was, I think, a clumsy joke, in my opinion. But if you'll remember what it was, there was just this poll that turned out to be a BS poll saying that a majority of black people said that it's not okay to be white. So it was a BS poll, but he read it, he believed it. He says, therefore, black people are racist, and therefore we should stay the hell away from black people. It's one of those things where you can't, some things you just should stay away from making jokes about. So it was a clumsy joke, but oh my gosh, his publisher canceled him, his syndicate, my former syndicate, canceled him. He got canceled every place. And to be putting that in the obituaries, oh, come on, oh, here it is, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's why you always need to check the source and say, is this a credible source, a biased source? Are they far left? Are they far right? Which one is it? So the cartoonist from Dilbert dies, and he's this bad dude and this controversial guy, but the austere leader of ISIS, Jihad al-Baghdadi, whatever his name was, what a guy. So just check your source. There it is. Abu al-Bakr al-Baghdadi, the austere religious scholar at the helm of Islamic State, dies at 48. What a guy.
Well, it's the
cartoonist from Dilbert, Mr. Adams over
Disgraced.
here. Disgraced. So
although that needed to say
unfair.
died suddenly at 48.
The other thing I'll say is racist is the most overused term. I don't know. I'm not going to judge him right now. He does make a great point about the kids. You have one kid and you go back for two. I was hanging out with a lady last night, a friend. She has 11 kids.
Damn.
And she's trying to convince my girl, like, go for it. Come on, I'm going to do number 12 if you do number 1. I'm like, this lady just wants a baker dozen. I don't know if she's looking for a football team. 11 kids. The last point is this. We're on the same page here. This is my concern. And he's a good guy. And I talk about bad people at the last second Hail Mary accepting Jesus. This, to me, was a risk-reward calculation.
That's not how it works.
Not pure.
100%.
From your heart.
100%.
So I've been Jewish my whole life. It's on my deathbed. It's like, Jesus.
No,
that's not how it works.
Because you know who knows your heart?
Yeah.
Jesus. He knows. And there's no way to get to the Father except through the Son. Okay? And just to go back really, really fast, do you guys remember when Qasem Soleimani was killed? New York Times published an op-ed. They called him a freedom fighter. CNN, NPR, they called him hero to supporters and a popular figure in Iran. It's a freaking joke. It is a joke. And then I didn't know that about you. And that's so I understand the feeling that you didn't message him, but just hoping that we could pray that he did have a moment where maybe the Holy Spirit was like, hey, you have this opportunity. And I hope and I pray that he came to it right there. Because a word and a letter, that's not going to come.
And Adam, Ann made the point about Pascal's wager. You hope that none of your friends, are simply making Pascal's wager and they think it's like this little fire alarm at the last moment, that it's a genuine. And I have deep respect for Tim Keller, and I believe that anybody that would encounter at a moment facing their own mortality Tim's writings, I believe that they would be compelled. I think that's what you were saying. I agree with that. Tim's tremendous. And I just think the dialogue has become so heated and so nasty. As I've often said, once upon a time, I used to think that liberals think I'm evil when I just thought liberals were wrong, right? But I think it's become much deeper and worse than that. I mean, it goes on both sides.
Yeah, I think they're evil.
Yeah, well, so do I. But it's become deeper than that. Even Matt Judge, when OJ died, as I recall, the Drudge Report took heat because the headline they carried was "Cancer Murders OJ." I believe was the.
Wait, who had that headline? That's hilarious.
Yeah, if you go back, the Drudge Report took heat for it.
That's
but
funny.
It was Cancer Murders OJ.
That's really funny.
Ann Coulter's got a very interesting sense of humor.
If that's not that and you came up with it, Tom, I think it's hilarious.
No, it was
Cancer
the Drudge
1,
Report.
OJ 0.
Okay, let's go to the next story, Tom. Next story I want to get to is this one story, which I'm so curious to know what you guys are going to say about this. Oprah Winfrey makes controversial claim that overeating doesn't cause obesity. It's not her fault.
Okay, the calories got in there
It's
somehow.
not her fault. It's a beautiful commercial for GLP-1.
Yeah.
Is what it is. I mean, that's what it is. Rob, if you want to play the clip, go for it.
All these years, I thought I was overeating. I was standing there with all the food noise, what I ate, what I should eat, how many calories was that, how long was it going to take. I thought that was because of me and my fault.
Yeah.
Now I understand that if you carry the obesity gene, if that is what you have, that is what makes you overeat. You don't overeat and become obese. Obesity causes you to overeat. Obesity causes you to have all of that food noise. And what the GLP-1s have done for me, and I know a number of other people, is to quiet that noise.
Yeah. What do you think about when you try to quiet that noise? What do you think about what she's saying here?
Well, I probably shouldn't say this because I'll get a lot of people mad at me, but I so want these GLP drugs not to work. It makes me so angry that people are not just eating right and exercising. It's unfair. They're just going to take a pill. No, of course, overeating causes obesity.
Like, it drives me crazy. Well, first of all, like, what a groundbreaking, like, revelation that she had. I think it's up there with Einstein discovering relativity. Like, her saying that obesity, you don't overeat and become obese. Obesity causes you to overeat. Really. And it's funny that she's done a complete 180, mind you. She stepped down from Weight Watchers board, I believe, in 2024 to promote the GLP-1 drugs. And now she's claiming that obesity is driven by genetics and largely out of control. It's convenient that makes GLP-1 her solution. And I'm curious to see who she's going to come out and back. And by the way, horrible outfit choice. Can we address? She's wearing a men's suit. Has she crossed over, Rob? Did you see that?
I do think she looks very stylish.
I mean,
I'm against what she is saying.
What is she wearing? I don't get it.
Listen, Oprah can do whatever she wants to do.
By the
She's
way,
Oprah.
she's 71.
Yeah, and by the way,
she's looking good for 71.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's 71.
But I don't know if Twitter's going to work. RFK tweeted and put, "Dear Oprah, yes, you were overeating for years, and it wasn't some mystical obesity gene puppeteering your fork. It was your choices."
There's no way he tweeted
I swear to you, he
this.
did this. Stop
Is this
selling.
a parody account?
No, this is RFK. Well, right there. That's it right there. He goes, "It was your choices. Stop selling surrender as science. Our kids deserve the truth that real changes start with personal accountability, not excuses. Make America healthy again."
You know, if I could say one other thing about the GLP drugs, contrary to all of the ads for it, more than half of people go off it within 6 months because it causes so many digestive issues and problems. So it may not be working quite as well as
and you
everyone
saw
says.
all the side effects were like bad breath, your butt is gone,
vomiting.
For men, apparently, it was something was happening positively, and again, it's getting everybody away from putting.
You can't
in the
say
work.
something like that.
What?
Did you just say it does something positively?
It does something for men.
78 people just placed an order right now.
What does it do for men?
Well, I thought I saw a report that said
that's just
Ozempic was
they
making
say
men
it does
swollen
everything.
in the right areas, and a bunch
No,
of
it's the
skinny guys
rest
are like,
of
"Oh,
Viagra, buddy.
No, it wasn't. I'm
No,
telling
the
you.
New York Times wrote about that. The rest
Ozempic
of you
penis, there you
slims
go.
down.
Oh, that's what it is.
Wow.
Okay. Ozempic males are reporting surprising, but she makes a good point.
That's 'cause they
Doesn't
can
it finally
doesn't it
make
make you
everything
again?
else stays the same?
Yeah, when you're 300 pounds, you go down to 180. You're gonna look a little bit.
Adam,
Yeah.
it's Ozempic.
For a while. How you been?
I'm with Ann on this, by the way.
Ozempic, not Olympic.
Yay.
Ann and I are going to agree for a change today, because I was talking to a friend. He's going to see this clip. He's going to freak out. And I said he took Ozempic, my buddy, and he said, "Oh man, I started having all these problems. My shoulder, I couldn't like lift my hand." I said, "Oh, interesting. So these shortcuts are actually there's some side effects to this." I said, "What you don't earn, you don't keep." You know, and they say like I tell this to OnlyFans girls when I used to interact with them, not anymore because I'm the man of the Lord. I said, easy money is going to come with hard lessons.
Oh, good
And
line.
you're going to, get rich quick. I'd rather build wealth slow. So all these people that are taking these shortcuts, you might end up with some Ozempic penis or whatever you want to call it. But you need to build the habits that get you there. It's the same thing with winning the lottery. You win $100 million. The average lottery winner is broke within 3 years because you don't have the framework and the habits to keep the money. So it's the same thing with Ozempic. You're 300 pounds and now you're 180. 2 years from now, you're going to be 300 pounds. By the way, you know who's going to agree with this? Oprah. Because her thing was a yo-yo with her weight. She's 250, then she's 120, then she's 300. How many? The whole story with Oprah. So to anyone out there who thinks that shortcuts is the way, that's not going to work.
It's such a lazy assessment.
Yep.
To say something like that. I went on 3 different AI, what do you call it, like the ChatGPTs and ICE. Is there such a thing as obesity gene? And it says the answer is not one gene. Obesity is influenced, and each was small focus on environment. Okay, think of it as genes load the gun, environment pulls the trigger. You know what it made me think about? I had a guy, you hear me every once in a while, I quote this guy. I had this guy on named Jim Clemente. Can you pull this guy up? He's a retired FBI survivor. You know what his job was? He was the first person that would sit with the person that just killed someone.
Yeah, of course.
You just killed your spouse. I'm the first one that interviews you.
Wow, what a job.
That was his job, right? And the question was asked, what causes somebody to be a killer? And he said this. He says, genetics loads the gun. Personality and psychology aims the gun. Experiences pull the trigger.
Wow.
So apply that to this. Okay, maybe genetics loads the mouth.
Yes.
Okay? But personality and psychology, Oprah, is what aims the food here. And you kept doing this.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then experiences, you're sitting around, everybody's eating pizza, cheesecake. Let me have one as well. Let me have one as well. So this lazy, always deflecting responsibility on why you look the way you do. Oh, my God.
Such
just stop it already.
He needs a mouth
It makes me think of what Cartman used to say on South Park. He'd be like, I'm not fat, I'm just big boned. It's like, no,
Okay.
you fat, dude.
Yeah, you need a mouth goalie. That's what she needs.
There
She
it
needs
is, this
somebody to
thing right
slap
here,
food
Rob.
out of her mouth.
I'm not fat, I'm big boned.
That's what
All
your
right,
mom
well,
said.
listen,
Fat, buddy.
as we're going through this logic, let's go through this next one. Josh Hawley is asking a doctor a very basic question, folks. By the way, if you're in a good mood right now, you're going to be in a bad mood in 90 seconds.
You'll get
okay?
your food.
This doctor is going to annoy the hell out of you in 90 seconds. Josh Hawley is trying to get the answer to one question. Can men get pregnant? He has to ask it 11 times. Go ahead.
Said a moment ago that science and evidence should control, not politics. So let's just test that proposition. Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities, but
Can men get
I take care
pregnant?
of many
Two.
women that can get pregnant. I do take care of people that don't identify as women. That
Can men get pregnant?
3.
again, as I'm saying,
Let me just remind you what you testified to a moment ago. Science and evidence should control, not politics. So can men get pregnant? You're a
totally
doctor, I
agree.
think.
Science and evidence should guide medicine.
Do science and evidence tell us that men can get pregnant?
5.
Biological men. Can they get pregnant?
I also think yes/no questions like this are a political tool. And
No, yes, no questions
She's
are
a
about the
tool.
truth, doctor. Let's not make a mockery of this proceeding. This is about science and evidence, and I'm asking you. The United States Supreme Court just heard arguments yesterday at great length on this question. This is not a hypothetical question. This is not theoretical. It affects real people in their real lives. And you're here as an expert, called by the other side as an expert, and you've been telling us that you follow, right, you're a doctor, and you follow the science and the evidence. So I just want to know, based on the science, can men get pregnant?
7.
That's a yes or no question. It really is, I think.
I think you're trying to reduce the complexity of a lot.
I'm not. I'm trying to get, it's not complex. I'm trying to get to an answer, and I'm trying to test, frankly, your veracity
Great work.
as a medical professional and as a scientist.
Right.
Can men
Yeah.
get
Starting
pregnant?
to think he can get pregnant.
You're also conflating
Maybe I can get pregnant.
No, I'm not conflating male and female. They're two different things. There's biological men and there's biological women. And I want to know, can men get pregnant?
What you were talking about is
She can't answer.
biological.
You're not going to answer my question, it sounds like.
Biological males.
This isn't hard, doctor. Can men get pregnant?
Men.
Yes or no?
Again, I would be more than
Oh my
happy to
God.
have a conversation with you that is
I'd be
not
more than
coming
happy to have
from
a
place of
conversation
trying
with you.
to
This
be
is the modern
polarized
left.
And
I'm not trying to be polarizing. I'm trying to ask. I think it is extraordinary that we are here in a hearing about science and about women. And for the record, it's women who get pregnant, not men.
No, it's birthing people, Senator Hawley.
Well, and going back, okay, this is okay. Every time we think we've gone past this, we come all the way back. And going off of what she said about this party, this ideology, this leftist being evil, guys, this is when you can't differentiate male or female, and you're pushing it out there, and you are a doctor, when you are pushing surgery and transitioning to children, when you're pushing for violence, for stuff to happen, all this stuff equates to a party of evil. And yes, there's Republicans, neocons that will war. Yeah, they're evil as well. But this party has nothing positive to stand on. And then I said this a month ago. Name me one. I know that there's Christian Democrats. Name me one that's openly out there saying, hey, as a Christian, this is wrong. Kids can't do this. Abortion, 73 million abortions a year worldwide. It's wrong. We shouldn't be murdering these children. Where is the one Christian voice that's standing up for this freaking nonsense? Where is it? Where are they?
Side, there's got to be some.
Where is one? I'm saying, have you heard of vocally? Like, this is preposterous. You're sitting in Congress. Mind you, this isn't a conversation at a hookah bar or a cigar lounge and you just, I want to debate. You're in front of Congress. You're in front of the world, and you cannot answer a simple yes or no if men can get pregnant. They can't. End of story. Move on. So, because my question is to you, Ann, why is she so defiant? What is making her stick to her guns, so to speak, in this situation?
I am baffled at how the Democrats are absolutely sticking with the transgender thing, no matter how many people dislike it. If I can make a point about, completely off topic, but on your abortion point, Bobby Weir of the Grateful Dead died this week, and there's a fantastic video of him talking about how he was adopted, and he found the birth parents, and his father turned out to be like an Air Force captain or something, but it was a pretty cool story. And I was thinking I have to add him to my list of all these people who would not have been born if their mothers had gotten pregnant after Roe v. Wade, and they would not be with us. And I think it's God telling us.
Wow.
Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, Jack Nicholson, now Bobby Weir I'd forgotten about, obviously Tim Tebow. I have a long list. These are the ones I'm thinking of off the top of my head. But another adopted, amazing person.
And again, going back to the point of what does this party stand for? There's no backbone. There's no faith. There's no nothing. To me, it's just anti-positivity, anti-Trump, and it's just all negativity. There's like nothing positive coming from these people.
Well, there's a very logical line there, but it is insanity. Right? It is insanity, but there's the logic of insanity. She's being asked a scientific question in Congress, but she worships at the altar of liberalism, which needs to create and enable these groups, which are then the victims, which are the blood on the flag that they wave. It's that simple. And so she can't answer a scientific question when she is sitting there about to violate the tenets of her belief in liberalism. And if you follow that logic, you say, well, that's perfectly logical why she can't do it. It's insanity, it's weird, it's bizarre, but it is her faith because she worships at the altar of liberalism.
Great freaking point.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to have a baby with my girlfriend, and this whole time, I've been the one that's been trying to get pregnant, and it's just not working.
Wow.
And she's like, dude, can you do it? I'm like, I'm trying, babe.
Wow.
And they go, by the way, have you thought about maybe her being the one getting?
Is that what it is?
I was like,
exactly.
what?
Wait a minute.
She's the one that does it?
That's weird.
So I called my mom, and I go, Mom, is it true that you're the one that birthed me? She goes, yeah, hon. Why? It wasn't your dad. I go, Mom, you're going to be offending some people right now. But this is the offensiveness. Like, you're now offending our common sense. And shout out to Senator Hawley. What an easy job he has at this point. Hey, you know what? Like, Ronald Reagan was a great communicator. He brought down communism. You know, Abraham Lincoln had to end the Civil War. Josh Hawley has to get up and say, can men have babies? And you're doing great service for the American public because stupidity is there.
I wanna raise this, go off of what Ann just said, and it inspired me to look this up. Who are the top leaders around the world who were adopted or raised by family? You ready for these names? I knew about Steve Jobs. He was adopted by an Armenian family, by Armenian mother, by the way.
Steve Jobs?
Yeah, Steve Jobs. Adopted at birth, later co-founded Apple.
He's
Shout out to the
Ellison.
Armenians.
Larry Ellison was adopted as an infant, founder of Oracle. Dave Thomas, adopted, founder of Wendy's. He lived in our community, just so you know, before he passed away, the house to the left. Marilyn Monroe, placed in foster care, later adopted. Faith Hill, adopted shortly after birth, later became a global music icon. John Lennon, raised and legally adopted by his aunt, Mimi. Nelson Rockefeller, adopted. Malcolm X, foster care after father's death and mother's institutionalization. Bill Clinton, raised by grandparents, later stepfather. Simone Biles, raised by grandparents, later adopted by them. Louis Armstrong, raised by grandmother and other guardians. Oprah Winfrey, raised by grandmother and later relatives. Eleanor Roosevelt, orphaned young, raised by grandmother. Jack Nicholson, raised by grandparents, believing they were his parents. Eric Clapton, raised by grandparents. Colin Kaepernick, adopted by white parents.
Yes.
Major cultural figure. Later on blamed them. Okay. Maya Angelou, raised by grandmother after early trauma. Babe Ruth, raised in a reform school under guardianship. Wow. Can you imagine if these guys were
never
aborted?
born?
These
Aborted.
guys changed the world. Literally, Steve Jobs.
How
Marilyn
many have
Monroe,
we lost?
Colin
since Roe
Kaepernick?
v.
That's
Wade?
a great point you make. How many have we lost? 70. I saw the number and I had to double check it. 73 million children are murdered every single year in the world. What?
Yeah.
What?
This is why
and
they
I know
say
people are gonna be like, well,
Planned
incest. No. The
Parenthood
number
is
of incest, put that away. People that are willingly going, you know what? I don't want it. I'm gonna murder this kid.
And it
Or as we
wasn't
call it in the
that
United States,
hard
the black
for
genocide.
both in Weir's case and Jobs' case. Okay, the parents are in college. Yeah, it's a bad time to get pregnant.
Yeah.
They go away.
Yeah.
Weir didn't even know or Weir's father didn't know because the mother never told them they were college kids. She just went to, I don't know, San Francisco Bay Area, had the baby, gave it up for adoption. It's not going to wreck your life.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, I just looked up what number is for abortions in 2024. 1,038,000.
Where?
In America
in the
alone.
US.
Just here.
Just here. Worldwide, you said 73 million.
73 million.
Yeah, 73 million.
A year.
1.14 million is
Increase.
the number. And by the way, can you pull up by ethnicity,
or by
background to see what it is?
We'd love to see some data
Okay,
on this.
black African Americans, you ready? They're only 13% of the population. They're 41% of the abortions. So out of the 1,410,000 were black, African American, white, non-Hispanic, 33 to 36, Hispanic 20 to 22, Asian 6 to 7. Everybody else is 2 to 3% of the abortion. Okay, thank you, Margaret. What was the last name? Sanger.
Is it Sanger? Planned Parenthood.
She's a Planned Parenthood person, right?
And notice how the phrasing, Tupac, and then you want to move on. Look at how innocent and Planned Parenthood. They should just name it baby killing. Come here and we'll kill your baby.
Yeah.
Come
if
here.
If you take a look at the voting block, Barack Obama shouldn't have been our first black president. He should have been our second.
Why is
If
that?
you go back to 1973 and look at the size of the voting blocks and the size of the populace that would have made up the United States, statistically speaking, he should have been our second black president.
Somebody should have made it there, is what you're saying. Like somebody else would have made it there. Yeah. Let me get to Venezuela. Let's talk about Venezuela here because, and I know you've written about this, you've talked about this. So President Trump brags about a very good call with terrific Venezuelan president ahead of meeting of opposition leader. Rob, if you want to pull up this clip, is this the vice president of Maduro, right? This is the person that replaced Maduro, that was under Maduro.
Yes.
If that's the call. Okay, yes. Rob, do you want to play this clip? Okay, go for it, Rob.
And we'll see how it all works out. I think something will work out. Yeah.
Mr. President, from Venezuela, Cabello, the de facto #2 in Venezuela right now, he seemed pretty reluctant to work with the U.S. And obviously he's
with us? They just gave us 50 million barrels of oil.
The #2, the Venezuela security
I don't
chief.
know. I know the #1. We just had a great conversation today. And she's a terrific person. I mean, she's somebody that we've worked with very well. Marco Rubio is dealing with her. I dealt with her this morning. We had a long call. We discussed a lot of things, and I think we're getting along very well with Venezuela. Yes.
So, open-ended question. What do you think about everything that's going on with Venezuela? Everything that happened and is going on.
Fantastic. I'm so happy that he is pursuing this Monroe Doctrine. I do care about what happens in our hemisphere. And just, I mean, I love that both on his Iran bombing, which I wasn't in favor of before it happened, but he just did it and left, not sending in troops. And he does the same thing in Venezuela. Just goes in, grabs the guy who's been under indictment under the Obama administration, under the Trump administration. They gave up. I mean, it's just a ridiculous communist government, and it's just a drug cartel. That's the only way Venezuela makes money. It did have to be shut down. I like the idea, and I like the way Rubio talks about it, especially. I like the idea of America going in and installing puppets. We didn't have a problem with fentanyl and 100,000 Americans dying of drugs every year back when we were installing puppets in Latin America. We didn't have open borders and millions of people streaming across our border. This is in our neighborhood. It's really, really affecting our country. So I love that he did it.
Yeah, if there's one person I trust in this situation, it's Marco Rubio. 100%. His family is Cuban immigrants. He understands what's going on. I mean, born and raised, obviously, raised in Miami. By the way, I don't know if I have more Colombian friends or Venezuelan friends, but they're everywhere in Miami. I've asked every single Venezuelan, Colombian, I go, yes or no, Maduro? They're like, get him out of here. Not one person has said, well, you never know. Juxtapose that with the Ayatollah situation, equivocating over here. By the way, did you notice as soon as we took out Maduro, the Colombian president, Petro, who was all tough and bluster, goes, yeah, I'll come meet you at the White House, sir. Like, I'll come meet you. All of a sudden, when you take out a bad dude, other bad dudes start to act a little bit better. By the way, FYI to the people of Cuba, you never know what's going to happen to your leader next. I'm just saying.
You never know what's going to happen to your leader, and you don't know what's going to happen to Cuba. You know, can you imagine by the end of his term, we're debating where to go for summer. Oh, let's go to Waldorf Astoria in Cuba.
Right.
Let's go to St. Regis for Cuba. Really? Yeah, let's just go hang out over there. What?
Yeah.
This is a very unique thing when you think about this whole concept of how America went from playing offense and went from being smaller to 13 colonies. We fought and were willing to put our lives on the line for 3% taxes. And then we come down and we have these 13 colonies, and then we get started. America does, the great founding fathers. And I'm a byproduct of what they did for my family to have moved here to have the life that I have. Then we buy Louisiana, 15 million. Then we buy Florida, 5 million. Then Texas comes to us. Then Alaska, 7.2 million. Then the war for, California, Arizona with Mexico. And then we could go all the way down. James Polk says, let's take over all of Mexico. Little bit of hesitation because of Catholic Mexicans to be part of that and having representation. And then let's take over Cuba. He draws that whole line. And then no one talks about it. And then there's World War I. America's afraid. Then we come back. Then there's World War II. Hey, let's start the CIA in 1947. Let's start doing all these coups and proxies and all this other. Let's get involved in everyone's marriage and everyone's business and everyone's this. And this guy's coming up and saying, no, I want Greenland. What do you want to do about it? We're going to attack you, Denmark. Go ahead. I want Greenland. That's not how it works. It actually does. I want Greenland. That's not how this works. You don't study history. Go study history. If somebody comes in and says they want this land, you can fight for it, and I can choose to fight, or you can do a deal and I pay you.
Wow.
And then let me go build something I want to build. There was a tweet that came out today from Trump. We can't find it. He says, I promise you I won't build a Trump Tower in Greenland. That's from 2019. I don't know if you guys seen this one or not. Do you remember that tweet with the picture? Yeah. So, and guess what he's doing now? Venezuela, it's Monroe, Donroe. Hey, this is on the Western. I really, really like the way he's thinking. Yeah, this right here tweet. Is Twitter back up, by the way, Rob?
It is. It's up and down.
It's back up? Okay, good.
Sir.
Yeah, this is a tweet, by the way, from 2019.
That's crazy.
Go to the bottom, Rob. I promise not to do this to Greenland. August 19, 2019, 6 years ago, 5.5 years ago. So I don't mind any of this stuff. The part that I want to ask you about is the following. So is it Eduardo de Mundo Gonzalez? I'm saying the name incorrectly. Eduardo Gonzalez, the guy who wins, Edmundo Gonzalez, who wins, and Maria Corina Machado becomes under him, which is really her winning, but she becomes a, front face. and the election numbers comes out. We had her on the podcast a week after she won, and we had a conversation with her. I said, why are you not being more vocal and going and talking about it? You're just hiding. And she goes to the White House. Rob, if you want to play the clip, she just won a Nobel Peace Prize a few months ago. And she goes in and hands over the Nobel Peace Prize to the president, okay? And that's what she got. And if you want to go play the clip of her saying that and handing it over to her, no, the one where she says that, I am here proudly wanting to give my Nobel Peace Prize to President Trump, and she has recognized him and Peace Prize Trump. And there's a speech. If you can't find it, it's fine. We'll just go into it. Okay, it's all good. If we can't find a clip, I'll look for it.
This is her with Fox News where she...
Afterwards, he deserves it. Okay, go for it.
In spite of the Nobel Prize Committee saying that you couldn't transfer your Nobel Prize to anyone, especially President Trump, you did today. Why did you do that?
Because he deserves it. And it was a very emotional moment. I decided to present the Nobel Peace Prize medal on behalf of the people of Venezuela.
In spite of the Nobel Prize Committee saying that you...
Okay, so she does that, which is great, very noble. And I think a part of it she wants to do to give him credit because the day she won it, that day she said, I don't know why you're giving it to me. You should have given it to her. President response, it was my great honor to meet Maria Moreno Machado of Venezuela today. She's a wonderful woman who has been through so much. Maria presented me with her Nobel Peace Prize for the work I've done. Such a wonderful gesture of mutual respect. Thank you, Maria. Great. Even with this guy, this unique guy, was still not flattered enough to say, you can have the job.
Yeah.
Watch what Caroline Levitt says here. Go ahead.
Be bought.
Is it still the president's assessment that it would be very hard for Ms. Machado to leave Venezuela because he says she lacks the respect and support in that country? And will he raise that with her today?
I think the president's assessment that you just pointed out was based on realities on the ground. It was a realistic assessment based on what the president was reading and hearing from his advisors and national security team. And at this moment in time, his opinion on that matter has not changed.
He has also said that he would like there to be elections in Venezuela when the time is right. That's right. Do you have any update on when that might be? And is he committed to a transition to democracy for Venezuela?
Yes, and he is also committed to hopefully seeing elections in Venezuela one day, but I don't have an updated timetable for you today.
Okay. Reaction to it. I want to hear from you. Your reaction on the fact that he still is not giving her the throne.
Well, for one thing, it gives the lie to the Washington Post and various MSNBC. They're snippy. He won't let her be leader because she won the No, it has nothing to do with that. I think it's the same thing as with Reza. No, she's not going to be the leader. We need a military junta there. Exactly what you were saying about Iran. No, for one thing, I think it should be a man. This is an Hispanic macho culture. But it ought to be someone with the support of the military. I would not let those people vote again. They voted for Chavez over and over again. It was the poor people, the peasants running out. Oh, you're going to give us the golf courses. And yep, he gave them the golf courses. Well, okay, this is what they got. They voted for this. Yeah. So do not let those people vote again. It's going to have to be a military guy. I understand this from her perspective. I think it was from the heart. He has done a lot. If there were a legitimate peace prize in the world, Trump should have won it. I don't think the Nobel Peace Prize is legitimate. I don't know why Trump does want it. I think it's kind of embarrassing that he accepted it. He should have thanked her and said that's a lovely gesture, but poof, it's the Nobel Peace Prize. I'm like, this means nothing to me.
Yo, Obama got it with what? How long was Obama in?
I don't think he was even president yet, was he?
No, I think it was like he just showed up and like, hey, here, take this.
You
because
got mail.
you're Jesus to us. But I think you made a good point about the Reza Pahlavi. He doesn't feel it. He knows. He's like, all the flattery in the world, Trump is laser focused right now, Pat. And I think, you know what? Why the left and all these people, they're not used to a real leader, okay? And they're just, and I can't even blame them. They're not used to it. They've never had this type of freaking boss coming. You know what it reminds me of? Like a mother getting divorced and the old dad was like, whatever. And the new stepdad comes in and he's like a Marine retired. And the kids don't know how, oh my God, There's discipline. There's freaking order. Let's not forget Venezuela emptied the freaking prisons. All the drug boys, Tren de Agua, going around taking up freaking residency and apartments in freaking in Colorado. But here's my thing. If there's a way that the United States could make Venezuela a better place for those Tren de Agua and the people hitting ice with shovels in the head, good. I'm all for it. Make your place good so you don't have to come here and ruin ours. Plain and simple. That's it.
Yeah, and it's pretty clear, you know, socialism or communism sounds good, but it's not good. So if we want to implement this new Don Rowe doctrine, you know, let's keep communism and socialism, let's keep it as far into the Eastern Hemisphere as possible. But if it's going to creep into the Western Hemisphere, like it has done in Venezuela, amazing country, now ruined. Cuba, we've seen what's going on there. Brazil, your friend Lula. You mentioned Cuba. Have you ever been to Cuba?
No.
I've been to Cuba 10 years ago
Yep.
for our friend Keith's bachelor party. I don't know how he pulled it off. We went on some mission trip. And here's how I would define communism and socialism. We get there. It's literally the 1950s. Like, it's like you're a time traveler. Shout out to Candace Owens, who thinks that Charlie Kirk's a time traveler now. That's another whole story. You know, I love Back to the Future. But you go Back to the Future in Cuba, and you get there, you check into your hotel, and you're living, you know, in the center of town, city center, and it's genuinely nice in your little part of city center.
Yeah.
And then you get in a car, and you say, let's go drive around. And it's like, you know how like Disney World, it looks like it's a nice building, and you go in and it's all just fake. Everything is broken down, has not been fixed. Nothing works. Everything's dilapidated. Buildings are crumbling. Nothing's been updated since the 1950s, 1960s. So it looks great on the surface, and then you open the door, or you pop the hood, or you drive around the block, and the whole thing is crumbling. That is communism.
By the way, did you guys go out? Like, was there nightlife?
Yes, we went out.
Women, nice, partying.
I'm not allowed to talk about it, Pat.
No, I'm just telling you. I'm asking you.
I did. We did go out.
So it was good. It was fun.
Yes, I mean,
was it like a 50-year ago of Miami vibe? Like, is it like that, or was it still? You felt like you're in a different country.
You're definitely. I mean, I live in Miami, so to me, going out in Doral or going out in Caracas or Havana, it's the same thing. But it's very interesting. Ernest Hemingway, the whole thing.
Yeah.
But you're traveling, literally driving around in American Cadillacs from 57 Chevy.
Western Hemisphere. That's Western Hemisphere. So he could do something with that as well. And by the way, you know, there's enough people. Where is Ted Cruz from, by the way? Isn't he Cuban?
He was born in Canada, but his father's Cuban.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
But isn't his father Cuban? Like he is? Yeah. So I think there's enough interested parties that I think, I don't know.
Well, go down to Miami. You'll see what they think about.
Expansionist mindset as a capitalist. I don't mind that. I know it's going to upset a lot of socialists and communists and TDS folks, but I don't mind it. So let me get to the last story. Rob, do you have the story of what happened with the shovel and the shooting and the like two guys at the same time? You know which one I'm talking about, Vinny?
Clue.
Oh, yeah.
So let Rob, what page is this on?
This happened 2 days ago.
Is this the one that says illegal Venezuelan migrant shot in Minneapolis, Rob?
Yes.
Is that the one? Okay, so illegal Venezuelan migrant shot in Minneapolis
for the last 24 hours.
after mercilessly ambushing Fed agent with snow shovel.
Weird.
According to DHS.
Yeah.
Okay? Again, another one of those that sounds like an Onion story or a Babylon Bee story, but it's not. So an illegal Venezuelan migrant was shot in the leg by a federal immigration agent in Minneapolis after he allegedly fled during a traffic stop and beat the ambush officer with a snow shovel Wednesday evening. The Department of Homeland Security said the suspect was behind the wheel when he tried to get away from federal immigration officers at 6:50 p.m. local time, but he crashed into a parked car. Great driver. The migrant then tried to escape on foot and violently assaulted the officer as two wrestled on the ground, according to an ex-post. While the man continued to struggle with the officer, two other people emerged from a nearby apartment and allegedly mercilessly attacked the agent with a snow shovel and broom handle. In the chaos, Rob, do you have the video on this? Is there documentation on this?
I don't think there's actual video of it happening, but I'm pretty sure Rob will have the 3 Venezuelan illegals that were involved in it. And notice, you're not gonna see it plastered everywhere. It was like on for like an hour, but then it disappeared.
Yeah.
You know why? It doesn't fit the narrative. It's not a mother of 3 who they're using old photos. No, it's 3 dudes that look like they just got out of prison.
Mm-hmm.
You have the
Can
photo?
we see the pictures, Rob?
Robbie, do you have a photo about 3 Venezuelans that were? By the way, tell me how peaceful and sweet these guys look. You don't see them liberals sticking up for these guys, huh? The family, this guy's right here.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 guys.
Yeah, we have to go to the Hindustan Times to get the picture.
Yeah, exact. Great point. Hindustan Times to show these dudes. Where's the riots? Where's the craziness? Where's the wildness? So by the way, and where does he get the attitude of, you know what? I'm gonna get out of my car. I'm gonna try to hit him with my car. And then a door opens from a house. 2 other Venezuelans come out and start beating them with shovels.
Yeah.
Anybody want to take a wild stab in the dark of where the hell they're getting this attitude? Because the freaking mayor, the governor, and Ilhan Omar are like, guys, fight back.
Yeah.
Okay? This is the enemy. Okay? Notice how it didn't make it. Right, Tom? This isn't, but you barely saw it. And then
What is this?
This is go ahead, Rob.
This is a separate incident. This is a Latin Kings member. So while that police officer reportedly was being attacked, other police officers in Minneapolis went to his aid. While they were doing that, this Latin Kings member then broke into a police car and then stole police weaponry, including a gun, bullets, and a bulletproof vest.
Simultaneously, this is what you were telling me in the back.
Yep. So it happened at the same time, and then the FBI just arrested this guy yesterday.
FBI arrested him, but now think about it. They're armed.
They tied chains to the gun locker, and then
did
they
you
have
know this?
another car go driving.
Just an FYI, I want people out there to know.
What are these guys doing?
They're stealing everything from the car, weapons, guns, magazines, bullets. That's a long rifle, stolen.
FBI rifle.
Look at that tattoo. What, guys, is that a father from Maryland? Is that another father from Maryland? Is that who the hell that was?
That Maryland man has a gun.
Maryland. Oh, that was a Minnesota man because he's a dad. Right? Give me a break. And I'm going to warn everybody out there, for all these morons out there, hopefully this hits one of their TVs or their phones. If you get into a cop car that's armed,
who's recording this?
Just people, idiots. They want clout. They're recording. Look at it. This man's a professional setup.
Dumb criminal.
All of them are stupid. These are the dumbest criminals. They record everything. Morons. But just I'm going to finish my point. If you jump in a cop car and there's weapons in the cop car, and they could shoot and kill you as you're leaving, because now you're gonna go and they don't know what
the guy.
This is the guy that stole the stuff out of
I'm
it.
shocked the dude who made the decision to tattoo his face.
Weird.
Made some other unfortunate
Minnesota
decisions.
Tekashi 6ix9ine is out there breaking into vehicles and stealing guns. Okay.
Tekashi 612.
Thoughts on this? Both of them.
It's interesting how hard it is to get the pictures and the videos of this. Boy, you're not seeing that on MSNBC. You're not seeing that on CNN. And also reminds us, he should be sending in federal troops. It's kind of an embarrassing mistake that the FBI, I don't care that somebody's being attacked. You got to hit the clicker on your car when it's full of weapons like this. Yeah. They should have left somebody to guard the weapons. That's not good. But, this is most of the people they're arresting.
Tom.
One more thing about this. I'm sorry to finish. The things that they had, besides being let in illegally by Biden, besides being probable criminals in Venezuela, the only crimes they had committed in this country were relatively minor if you only read it in prose. They lied to police officers. They were driving without a license. This is what they look like. The difference between no criminal conviction illegal and a criminal conviction illegal is about 1 week.
Yes, you're 100% right. I agree.
Yeah, it's just like, let me translate. Oh no, they're deporting our voting bloc. I mean, that's really, if you translate it. And you look at this stuff, and this is Portland. We're seeing it again. This is just like Portland. And now we're going to defund the police. This mayhem will continue, and then people are going to be coming back voting. These are liberals in Portland that are voting for restoration of justice, and they're changing the names of all the groups of the police officers instead of SWAT to rapid response teams, because maybe that feels better, but it's the same thing. 5 guys have invaded my house. Can you please come get them? Preferably drag them out. Thank you. Come conduct some police business. And that's what's going on here. I'm not being silly. We're seeing it in Portland. We're about to see a complete Yeah, by the way, we've seen people in Chicago that would stop the citizen journalist and says, hey, man, we need Trump to send him here. Please send him here. Reasonable people of multiple ethnicities that are living in these areas of the town. Hey, man, I'm a Southsider. Go White Sox. Look at what's going on here. The police need help.
I'm just, mind you, please hear me completely out. I'm not hoping or wishing any of this to happen. But in my mind, I'm like, what would make these people, especially the higher ups, and the Tim Walz, the Ilhan Omar, the Fry, the Gavin Newsom, what would make them, I know because it is a voting block thing, like I'm just wondering, like would a phone call, like let's just say, God forbid, hey Gavin, yeah, what's going on? I hate to say this to you, but your son, God rest his, was just killed. Oh my God, the first question, what happened? An illegal that wasn't supposed to be in the country was drunk driving and ran over him. I'm very curious to what happens to his open border, illegal, we need the votes, give them health care. Does that change someone like that, or do they still stick to their guns?
No, he blames Trump the same way Fry is blaming ICE for fomenting violence.
100%, 100%. And that's my thing is
ICE is fomenting the violence. No, they're arresting people.
Yeah, and that's the thing is none of this has happened. None of this directly impacts any of the people that are out there, the Ilhan Omar stepping on trucks and saying it until it happens to someone they love or someone that's close to them. I'm very curious to see if the tune changes. Because until that happens, they don't give a damn because it's not their kids, not their wives getting sexually assaulted. They're not getting freaking their money stolen. So it's nonsense. It's nonsense.
I think Minnesota needs their own version of Rudy Giuliani, like how we cleaned up New York. And unfortunately, they're just continuing to elect the Mamdanis in Minnesota. And no wonder it's this. By the way, I'm born and raised in Miami. My mom is from Minnesota. I'd go to Minnesota every summer, winter. I would see people with snow shovels. I've never seen a Venezuelan with a snow shovel in Miami. What do you, like Venezuelan and snow shovels, that's not a thing.
How would a
Only in
Venezuelan
Minnesota.
know how to operate
It's like
a
a
snow
Somalian
shovel?
with a Leering Center. Why are these things occurring? I don't get it. But this to me, you know, Pat, you've talked about something called the hero-making machine. So this guy, Jacob Frey, I just want to give this guy a big shout out to him, if we can show an image of him. This is what weak leadership looks like. This is the epitome of, what is it? Good men create, strong men create good times, good times create weak men. This is the weak man that they're talking about. Because in my opinion, he'd rather be liked than respected. Rudy Giuliani, to give him some credit, would rather be respected than liked. Being liked is fleeting. People will turn on you in an instant. Being respected, that's respect, sir. So it's kind of like, we've seen this, and it's a weird analogy, in the NBA. David Stern was respected. Maybe he wasn't liked, but everyone respected him running the NBA. And now they got this guy, Adam Silver, that wants to be liked, and now the players are running the league, just like the protesters are running Minnesota, and just like the inmates are running the asylum. This is a failure of leadership and trying to make the hero-making machine this clown or George Floyd rather than real people with real solutions. I pray for Minnesota, and I hope Venezuelans stop hanging out with snow shovels.
And just because you mentioned his name, if this is okay, Pat, I want to play the video of your friend, Mayor Jacob Frey. This is the biggest self-own. He just made the argument against mass immigration, but he used ICE. Look at how stupid he looks. Go ahead, Rob. Look.
Imagine if that city or that town was suddenly invaded by thousands of federal agents that do not share the values that you hold dear. Imagine if your daily routines were disrupted. The local cafe that you eat at was shut down because they're scared that their own family might get torn apart. Imagine if schools shut down and suddenly parents got to figure out what to do for daycare.
Buddy, those are the protesters that are rooting your. How are you not understanding?
He's the funniest.
These protesters are rooting this.
He's Somalis. Yeah. Imagine the thousands of people. Yeah. It's called Minnesota.
All right, let's do this Clinton one, and then we'll wrap up. So, facing contempt threat, Clinton refuses to testify in Epstein inquiry. Rob, if you got that, that's a New York Times story, and I think Jon Stewart responds to it as well. Is that James Comer, Rob?
This is.
What clips do you have on this? Because that's a long clip. Is there? What's Comer saying here, by the way?
This is where he talks about actually prosecuting the Clintons for avoiding the subpoena.
Go for it.
Visited the White House. Jeffrey Epstein visited the White House 17 times while Bill Clinton was president. I've been in Congress 9 years. I think I've been to the White House 9 times in 9 years. Epstein was in the White House double the amount of time that I was under one president. And then we know that Bill Clinton flew on Epstein's plane somewhere around 27 times after the presidency. So no one's accusing Bill Clinton of any wrongdoing. We just have questions, and that's why the Democrats voted along
Is
with
that the painting
Republicans
she's holding to the
subpoena
left?
Bill Clinton.
You have him.
It's nice. They will show
Is that the girl that goes to
photo.
movies a lot?
Yeah, she loves movies.
Lauren
Pat.
Boebert.
That's who it is.
Lauren Boebert's holding the.
I love her.
Yeah, that's.
She loves movies.
By the way,
Pat.
and this is what Jon Stewart had to say about it. Let's see what Jon Stewart is saying, because Jon Stewart. Go ahead, Rob.
Is compliance a kind of specialized individual indigenous opportunity, or should it be universal? I mean, the Department of Justice has subpoenaed them to testify in the Jeffrey Epstein case while not complying with releasing the files. So how does that comport in any? But do I personally think they should comply? Abso-fucking-lutely. Absolutely. And if they've got something to hide or nefarious, like, yes, we should know about all this. This is bonkers how long this is going on.
And we have only seen such a fraction. What I think I was reading, it's the 2 million files still have to come out.
It's 1% is what I've seen. Yeah, like that we've seen.
And the casual nature in these emails are like, hey, can you get me an Indian and a redhead? Like, they're just casually, is literally like they're ordering from, Uber Eats.
And the spelling errors. It's humiliating.
You can pause it right there. Okay. So where are you at with this? Where are you at with the whole Epstein thing?
I think Trump made a big mistake, one of the biggest ones of his second term. As for the Clinton thing, I think it's utterly unfair. It's a great point Jon Stewart makes. When you're subpoenaed by Congress, you have to respond to the subpoena. And if they're going to prosecute Steve Bannon for not responding to a subpoena and prosecute Peter Navarro for not, the problem with D.C. is it's run by Democrats. So, I mean, Eric Holder was in contempt of Congress. I think it was a virtually unanimous vote. And nothing can be done because it's a Democrat city. So that's a big problem when only one party has to respond to subpoenas. On the other hand, if I were Comer, I would have phrased it differently. I would have said, we have this big issue with Epstein. We're trying to get the bottom of it. We're investigating it. You were the head of the Democratic Party. You were president of the United States. We want your help here. We want you to come investigate, and not set it up as assuming guilt on the part of Bill Clinton.
Interesting. Adam.
Bill Clinton's not going to ever get in trouble, ever. It's not going to happen.
And that sucks.
I mean, by the way, I don't know if he's innocent, guilty. I don't know. That's not my thing. There's not going to be any accountability for Bill Clinton. There might be others. We saw what happened to Prince Andrew. We've seen what happened to, who was it, Larry Summers? Is that who it was? Okay,
Yes,
Lawrence Summers.
yes,
okay.
yes, he stepped away from
Bill
limelight.
Clinton ain't nothing happening to Bill Clinton. By the way, and I'm sure I'll catch a lot of heat from it, on all the things that are on my news feed that I'm going to click on, China, tariffs, Maduro, Venezuela, let's buy Greenland. At the bottom of my personal list is this Epstein situation. Is it important? Of course. Do we need to find out what happened? Of course.
Vinny.
Am I holding my breath? Not at all.
Vinny.
But you saying, Adam, nothing's gonna happen, which I agree with you, and I'll get to my point.
Thanks,
But does it bother you, Adam, that there's so much? There's not just smoke. There's a fire. The fire's burning, and it's been burning forever. Does it upset you though that none of them are gonna get held accountable? Because for one thing, when you lawfully skip a subpoena, you know what that's saying? I'm above the law, and I could do what are you going to do? What are you going to do? If that was you, Adam, or if that was me, bro, you would have been a whisper. Nobody would have, you're gone, and you're gone forever. Okay, and by the way, you know what nobody talked about? Not one single Democrat from the House Oversight Committee showed up to even sit there and wait for them because they know that, wait, this is the same party that's been like, Trump and Trump. Where are you at when it comes to them? And this whole pedophile protecting nonsense, it's preposterous, okay? All these people know. They know. When people are like, oh, it's Trump. No. They know what the hell's going on. Bill Clinton flew on the Lolita or whatever jet from Epstein 22 to 23 times. Jeffrey Epstein went to the White House, what was it, Rob? 17 times in 1 year to see the president. What were they doing, Adam? Were they trading recipes? Like carrot cake recipes? No, they were talking about him and going to Epstein Island. We saw the photos coming out. I get what you're saying. Nothing's going to happen. It's not. One person's going to hold them accountable, and they're all going to meet their freaking... And Adam, that gives me the most comfort in my heart of hearts is that you can run here, and the Prince of Darkness runs this place. But you're not running from him.
What happens if all these people that did all these illegal things accept Jesus the last second?
Yeah, good luck. Again,
no, I'm being serious. I'm actually being serious.
If they're real
in their hearts.
In their heart.
Pedophiles.
In their heart. And God sees their heart.
And they care.
I think we are going to find some stuff out.
For forgiveness?
Pedophiles on Epstein Island, they accept Jesus at the last second. What happens?
In their heart of hearts?
In their heart of hearts.
They're good to go.
Wow.
Okay.
But hold on. You think pedophiles in the last minute are going to say that?
Yeah.
You think pedophiles? No, not like Scott. Not like the.
Oh, you don't think that pedophiles believe in Jesus? Have you heard of the Catholic Church, buddy?
No, I mean, come on. That's you're.
Did I just make that up?
The Epstein thing, which is our topic, I think you're kind of right. It's not that interesting yet, but I don't see any reason why it won't get interesting because the American people demanded that even Trump do something he doesn't want to do.
But Trump never said he wanted the Cash Patel ran on this.
After.
Dan Bongino did his thing.
No, I'm not talking
Trump
about the
was like Epstein. Why are we still talking about
the point is a law was passed. They have to do it. The 1% now, that's true. That's unfortunate. That's because they suddenly found 1 million more documents. I think we're going to get the documents. I mean, they can't. If we don't now, we're going to get them under President Vance. So kind of boring now, but
Vance.
I think we're going to get them at some point, and that's when it's going to be at the top of your feet.
I just have one question for the great Ann Coulter. Are you more interested in the Epstein case or what's going on in Iran?
Oh, definitely Epstein. Twitter being down is number one.
Yeah. No, I'm way more focused on Iran.
In regard to the story, the committee is set to vote on the contempt. If it passes, it goes to a full House vote where Republicans own the majority. But then it goes to the DOJ, and Pam Bondi decides whether to prosecute. That's what I'm waiting for because she has connections to Florida. I know she showed up after the whole Epstein situation happened, but Pam, with her 10,000 hours of videos and all that stuff, I don't want this. This isn't going to die out for me, Adam. I'm waiting to find out what Pam Bondi does because Bill and Hillary are kicking their feet up going, we don't got to do nothing. He can do whatever he wants. Besides the Juanita Broderick and how many sexual assault allegations are on Bill? How many times did he have to fly to this island and meet with Epstein for somebody to go, yeah, it seems like you're freaking guilty.
Vinny,
it seems like he's guilty, Adam.
It's not your fault.
I know it's not.
I'd rather have Hawley asking the questions.
Yeah, you and me both.
I'm worried about
what
House
is an island?
Republicans.
I don't know.
No,
what is an island? What?
Yeah. What does is mean?
What is What is Island?
What is?
This is already on a path for the DOJ because this is the first step. Congress pulls you in for a closed-door deposition, and then they refer the matter to the DOJ. That's the path we're on. Bill and Hillary wrote this long letter to Comer that they immediately handed to the New York Times that said, there's a time to defend the people, the practices, and the justice of the United States, and that time is now. So that they, right on cue, right on brand, portray themselves as being effectively patriots, freedom fighters,
victims,
cowering victims under the weight of mishandled, abusive justice. That's their positioning. And so now they're going to vote and say, do we hold them in contempt and do we go to the DOJ?
Even Jon Stewart is done with it. He's like, listen, stop it. Go out there and show up. But the part is, if they don't show up, you could get away with it under any other president except for Trump. So if Trump was using his power to get rid of Maduro, try to get Greenland. If Trump really wanted to, he could really target and get Clintons. He's not. That's the question. Why not? Is it friends? Is it allies? Is it not important? Is it you're using the list? Is it you using
We'll
the list
see.
as a
There's
leverage?
still time.
There still is time. I'm just saying right now
There's
to
time.
you that
He
You know how there's like
there for sure
there's
is.
like bro code?
Yeah.
Maybe there's like president code. It's like listen,
No,
bro.
no, I
don't,
think
Not anymore.
speculating,
Not anymore.
There
I-
used to be. You're
I
right.
think he's waiting. You know what would be the greatest move? He waits till the right when he's about to leave.
You know who broke
and he
the
goes,
president
"Boom."
And except
code?
Jesus? Oh, that's not.
By the way, you know who broke the president code? One guy, Obama.
Hussein.
Obama broke the president code.
What do you do?
When Trump was campaigning, what do you mean? What
Oh,
was he
yeah.
Slide in his
Slide
phone.
on
He
him?
broke the
You
president.
mean-
By the way,
Slide on my
to
campaign.
be respectful, George Bush kept the code.
Oh, he wrote Obama a nice
No,
letter?
no, no. But what I'm
Yeah.
saying to you is never once did he come out criticizing Obama, even though every single day,
Yeah.
if there was a word that Obama used the most, what was the one word? What was the one word?
Oh.
I
Inherited.
inherited.
Yeah.
Inherited was his reap. I would
loved
love to know how many times did Obama under his
That's a good point.
under his administration use the word
Yeah.
inherit?
But
How many
Yeah.
times? Can you ask
Inherited
ChatGPT?
Obama.
How many times did
That's a good
Obama
one.
use the word I inherited?
Wow.
How many
The word
times during his
I
administration?
inherited.
I'm willing to bet nobody's used that
Well,
phrase
I'm
more
going to
than this
steal
guy.
that from
Let's
you.
say
That's a great
85.
point.
Over
There you
and
go.
over and over again. So
Just give him a shout out.
if you're
Source.
saying
Yeah.
he, I'd love to see a stat on this.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, if you're watching this right now and you're asking yourself, I fully disagree with what Adam had to say or Vinny has to say in Epstein or any of the topics, or if you're watching this honestly, and I'm like being very honest with you guys, if you like Tom, you want to help him out, connect him a good joke. Like, this was horrible today. Send him a few dad jokes. Like, you know what I bought him for his birthday? Do you want to tell everybody what I bought you for your birthday?
Oh.
Be honest.
I had this
Not Christmas, but birthday.
It's like this little tower. There was 3 of them all wrapped real nice. Opened them. It was 3 books on the greatest dad jokes
I'm
ever.
trying to help out, guys.
He's
I'm
not
trying to go out of my
reading
way.
it.
No, he's not reading it. So, Brooke Bailey, maybe encourage your dad to pick up that book instead of all the other books he's reading. And
I think they
with
hid
Ann
them.
Coulter, if you're not already doing this, go follow her Substack and sign up for it. Rob, let's put the link below for people to go follow the Substack as well.
Almost everything's free.
I love almost.
I'm a very bad businesswoman.
Well, there's something called Bet David Consulting. If
Yeah.
you want to scale your business, we have a 5-step process that basically is dummy proof,
Okay.
and you will scale your business
Yeah.
to success.
And by the way, here I am, Vinny,
Here am I,
represent.
Send me.
Love
with
your
the shirt as
T-shirts.
well.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna get you a
Let me
female
see
one.
this.
Love one.
They have they have some colors on
Yes,
this too,
they
but I'm
do.
gonna get you a
Yes,
white. I'll
they
get you a
do.
white. I promise you, I got you.
Guys,
Okay.
it is the weekend, Miami. Here I am. Send me down to Miami.
No, Adam, don't
this
do that.
week.
That's Adam for you, by the way.
And we have a Democrat one. There he is.
Guys,
Send him.
Have a great weekend. But just an FYI for everybody, if something goes on this weekend, we're going to have an emergency podcast. So brace for impact if something crazy happens, because we have a president that's somewhat unpredictable. If something were to happen, we will do an emergency podcast. And Coulter, as usual, thanks for
you.
coming out. This was wonderful. You're awesome. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. God bless everybody. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.